Hello everyone and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Hot for Justice.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Chibi Noob.
And I'm NB Jitters.
And we're here. We're finally here. It's the last round. It's the Shonen Showdown. It's going down today.
Yeah.
Last one. It's been 15 weeks. We started this at the beginning of the year. It's like this is the 15th week of this, and we are crowning a champ tonight. Finalists, Jujutsu Kaisen and Naruto. I don't know. Do we need introductions to this that much? Should we talk about both of their storied rise to the top? I feel like this is the part right before the Super Bowl where we see the a clips of the entire season as they go fighting their way up to the last thing. And you know what? We can't do any of that because we're a cheap ass show on YouTube. Doesn't matter. Oh. We watched episodes 10 through 13 of both of these shows, which I think was good. It was like, where do we start? Anyone have anything to say before we jump in?
Not really.
Alrighty. Let's talk Jujutsu Kaisen then. They're first up on the chopping block. Well, not the chopping, but we don't know who's getting chopped. Who knows? Jujutsu Kaisen. What happened? We are following the bullied kid. What was his name? Junpei. I was not going to remember that. I just remember him as Lucy from Devil's a Part-Timer. Season 2. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
He is... God, my brain just turned off. We were talking really good before this, and then my brain completely shut off for a minute. So... God, what happened? We had it started with a fight, didn't it? With Stitches.
Nanami and Mahito.
Yeah,
Yep.
Those two, Glasses and Stitches, the working man versus the moving stiff, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, we're learning a little bit about Mojito, and how he explains to Lucy, what's his name, Junpei? Junpei.
Yeah.
Yep.
That he can rework people's souls because people don't have hearts, they have souls, and they're weird and tainted and bizarre, and the body is formed around the soul, and if you manipulate the soul, you can change the body, and that's how he fucks with people without while keeping them human. And he's experimenting, expanding them, contracting them, turning them into this, turning them into that. He just manipulates their matter by manipulating their soul energy. And he needs better test subjects. So he's coming after Nanami because he's a Jujutsu sorcerer, which is a sorcerer. And he's like, hey, I need someone with a lot of power and resilience. That way, you'll maybe hold up a little better than most other people do. So they get at it, and Nanami is having a real trouble with this guy because he doesn't know how to attack him in any way that's going to be significant, because not only can he manipulate other people's souls, he can manipulate his own soul and therefore his own body and make it so that any wound that he takes doesn't really affect him nearly as much. I kind of saw that in a Yu Yu Hakusho with the I forgot their names. It was a big guy and a small guy. One was a big Hercules-looking dude, and the other one was a short guy who was able to transform his body, and he was able to move his organs around so that no one could ever get a vital shot on him. It was pretty cool. Anyway, back to this fight. That was in the Dark Tournament, actually. That's a really good arc for a shonen. Check that out at some point if you were enjoying Yu Yu Hakusho whenever that came up. They're fighting, and Nanami's trying to use his technique, the 7-3 thing, and he's getting in good hits. He just can't do any lasting damage that's gonna really mess with this guy. So he's like, oh man, I gotta get, you know what? But I'm also a salary guy. I clocked in at 10. I'm doing my 8 hours. I'm clocking out at 6, one way or another. You make me go into overtime, I'm gonna go into overtime on you. And they go to overtime. and he takes off his tie, and you know when a badass takes off their tie, you're about to have a bad time. So he unlocks super salary man mode, and he gets that overtime pay and just smashes a wall and makes it collapse on top of Mojito. And then he's like, "Yep, I'm done for the day. See ya." And yeah, he just pieces out. So I appreciate his work ethic a lot. I think that's really great. Meanwhile, across town, Yuji and what's his face, the driver, are tracking Junpei, and they're like, we know he was there at the theater. We don't know what his connection to it was. Was he just a witness? Was he a part of it? You know, we're gonna send a little harmless spirit thing to go after him, and if he doesn't see it, we'll do this. If he does see it, we'll do this, and you know, we'll figure it all out. We don't know what's going on. We're just gonna like put him in only a slightly bad situation to see what the reaction is. But you know, his teacher's there at his house, so it's like, we can't do this. There's a civilian here, but you know, they jump in anyway, and I'm pretty sure Junpei was about to kill the teacher because Mojito kept saying like, you know what? Doesn't really matter. You know, if you want to kill someone, kill someone. There are no consequences in life. Very like individualism, Ayn Rand bullshit kind of thing. And he doesn't because Yuji jumps in to save him from the little gremlin. But he also pantses the teacher because he could tell immediately that Junpei did not like this teacher and didn't want him around his house. So he runs around the block, which he does in record time because he is beyond the abilities of an Olympic athlete at this point. You know what? He was always beyond the
Always has been.
I was gonna say, like, that kid was, like, top of, like, head of, like, he did, like, what? He won awards in track?
He broke a world record in the first episode.
Yep.
Without even
that's
trying.
right. Yeah.
He threw a metal ball so hard it bent a goalpost. Yeah. You know what? I'm pretty sure that's why he can handle Sukuna. Because he is like...
Yeah.
He might... You know what? This might sound crazy. But do you think maybe his parents found him in a space capsule and decided, you know, we'll just keep him? And... Maybe. I'm just saying, there's possibilities for here. He could fly at some point.
Maybe.
Just saying. Anywho, he's like, "Hey, I got some questions for you. Can you answer them?" And he just starts kind of talking to him. He's like, "Hey, do you know anything about this thing? What's going on here? Yada yada, blah blah blah." Okay, I think that's all I need to know. My driver's not gonna be here for a while. Mind if I just hang out? And they just kind of hang out, and they really vibe because everybody vibes with Yuji. Is there anyone who doesn't like Yuji? Yuji has the Naruto superpower of turning all your enemies into friends. Which, you know, I can't say that's Naruto's superpower. There's a whole lot of shonen characters who do that. So, but Yuji does it especially well.
He sure does.
Yeah. Anyway, they start talking movies and that and all that sort of stuff, debating which is the best Human Centipede movie. Which is a noble conversation, I guess. Anywho, he gets invited to dinner by Junpei's smoking mom. I said that weird. She smokes. She's not, I mean, I don't know. She could be attractive. I don't know. They have some food. They vibe a little bit more because, of course, the mom likes Yuji because everybody likes Yuji. Anywho, they hang out for a little bit. Then Yuji leaves, and the mom gets eaten by a monster with Sukuna's finger.
Yep.
To motivate Junpei to wanting to kill all of his classmates because Mojito was like, oh yeah, this finger thing, this attracts people and like attracts evil spirits, and that's what killed your mom. Oh geez, do you know anyone with like dark intentions with a lot of money? Oh, you mean like my bully who's been constantly picking on me and leaving cigarette burns on my face? Yeah, I'm gonna kill him and everyone in my school now. So yeah, he crashes an assembly, and what's his face and Mojito are creating a barrier around the place so that no one else can get in or out. And yeah, Junpei starts poisoning the bully guy, and he's like, tell me what you did to my mom. He's like, I don't know. Tell me what you did. I don't know. And then Yuji shows up. He's like, hey, don't do this. This is a bad thing. And then they start to get into an ideological debate of like, I should be allowed to do whatever I want because, you know, who cares? Nothing means anything. Nihilism and all that. And Yuji's like, but have you heard my counter-argument of a punch to the face? And, you know, they go back and forth a little bit. I gotta give Yuji points. He's really willing to listen to him about, like, why he is feeling the way he's feeling and doing this. And I'm like, this is why he's such a good, like, turn your enemies into friends kind of guy. Because he's extremely empathetic towards people. He's not willing to take any shit when it comes down to it. But he will listen to your shit. And this kid has a lot of shit. I didn't mention that we got his backstory, like, earlier with a extra backstory with all the bullying and the stuff that he went through. We also got Nanami's backstory a little bit, which was nice. It was a nice little character thing. We'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, he starts to kind of turn around a little bit, and you can kind of see, like, Junpei's like, oh my god, why have I been doing this? This is so bad. But this guy told me that it was a good thing, and it was okay, and I had the power to do it. And then Mojito shows up, and he's like, hey, bitch, I lied to you the whole time and manipulated you into doing all this sort of stuff, and now I'm going to turn you into a little troll to kill your friend. And he does that, completing the ultimate betrayal, and yeah, 6 troll Junpei on Yuji, and Yuji won't kill him. But he doesn't have to because apparently he morphed his soul too fast, and Junpei dies pretty quick. Couldn't heal him. And at this point, like, Yuji was actually willing to make a deal with Sukuna to heal Junpei, but Sukuna was like, nah, not really, no, I'm good. And yeah, so Yuji's like, you know what? I'm gonna kill this guy. Fuck exorcism. I'm gonna kill this guy. And he goes and just decks Mojito right in the schnoz and really causes some damage. And he's like, well, how did he actually hurt me? This doesn't make any sense. The only people who can hurt me are people who are aware of their own soul, and no one's aware of their own soul except me. Oh shit, he has 2 souls in him. He's aware of his soul. He can actually hurt me. This was a bad thing for me. So they start fighting. It's amazing. This is like a really great looking fight. It's reminiscent of a certain other fight from a certain other series I've mentioned a few times. But that's...
Really?
I told you about it. I showed you clips of it.
Wait. Was it another similar fight?
Yeah, you only saw the one bit. But like, it's the Naruto Shippuden Kakuza fight. The stitched up guy in Naruto, guess what?
Yes,
he's made out of, spoiler, he's made out of tendrils that allow him to shape and change and move stuff around and then attack people with them. So it's yeah, there's some similarities here.
But you know, still a cool fight here.
Oh, still very cool fight. Absolutely. Very cool fight. Nanami eventually gets in there because Yuji's really getting, you know, a lot of holes in his body. And Mahito tries to do the whole I'm gonna mess with your body thing on him, but he touches Yuji's soul and at the same time, therefore he's touching Sukuna's soul. And Sukuna doesn't take kindly to that sort of thing. He's like, hey, guess what? I had a laugh because of the thing you did earlier, but guess what? You try coming in here again, I am gonna fuck your shit. And so he leaves, and he's like, well, I'm not going to try that again. Nanami shows up. They start tag teaming. Actually doing a really good job. They, like, work really in sync very well. Just, like, they're not really giving him a chance to reform his body in a way that will negate the attacks on him. So, which is good. Until he realizes, like, oh my god, I'm so close to death. We established earlier, like, Mojito was a young cursed spirit. He didn't have a lot of experience. He just had a lot of raw power. So he didn't really understand his powers entirely, and that was why he was kind of experimenting a lot. Now that he has felt his own encroaching death, he has had a sudden revelation and figures out how to use domain expansion. So he does that, and as we learned before, in a domain, the domain user's attacks always hit. And Mojito's thing is like, I have to touch people to make it work. So if I'm in a place, it's his most deadly situation. But only Nanami's in there because Mojito's not allowed to attack Yuji or kill him. So Yuji's left outside. But Yuji being Yuji just breaks inside because it's impossible to exit a domain, but it's super easy to get in. But why would you? I'll tell you why. Because he's Yuji, and he's always there for his friends, and Glasses Man is his friends. But of course, this puts Mojito again in contact with Sukuna's soul, and Sukuna don't take that shit lightly, and he fucks him up. He fucks him up pretty good. Breaks the domain down, all that sort of stuff, and yeah, he's on the ropes, so he tries to self-destruct. And Yuji just kind of punches him. He blows up into a little piece, and then he runs away down a sewer. And yeah, so didn't go perfectly for anyone. But yeah, the Yuji at this point has just had his like someone died on my watch kind of deal. And now we move on to whatever comes next in the series. I haven't watched ahead. Because again, I'm the only one who hasn't. Did I miss anything? I probably missed some stuff, but I think there was something about meatballs.
I mean, the Juju Scroll. The Juju Scroll.
That
Juju
one's
Scrolls
my
are good,
favorite.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the only other thing that wasn't mentioned, I mean, it's like a small detail, and it's only really said, like, in the middle of, like, a big scene. Just reiterating again that Sukuna's plotting again. And
Yeah,
he doesn't really care who dies, as long as Megami is still living.
Yeah.
Yeah, gay. Just saying.
A little bit.
Little gay. Just a little. Either way, what did we think of the plot here? I usually lead this, so I might as well say what I think. I think it's a yay for plot. I thought that, this particular, I'll just call this a mini arc, I guess. No, it's a major arc, I guess. I think this is like a big arc, mostly for Yuji.
Yeah.
But this was good. Good action. Good plot threads going on with the kid being manipulated and Yuji trying to learn like what to do. Even if he doesn't entirely understand what he's doing at the times, he's still going about stuff. We didn't get as much with the Sukuna plot yet, but I feel like that's just boiling under the surface, getting ready to become a thing. Yeah, plus we have the larger intrigue still going of like, what does the Akatsuki, not the Akatsuki, whatever their cursed spirit group name is, what is it they really want with Yuji other than having Sukuna on their side? What is their ultimate goal? We don't know yet, but it definitely involves killing a lot of people. So, everything it keeps moving. Everything is moving in a good way. Everything is a very satisfying move. So I'm a yay.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think things are progressing pretty well. You get I could just repeat what you said, but that would be pointless. But yeah, I like the plot. I'd give it a yay.
Yeah, I liked the plot as well. I think these 3 episodes or 4 episodes actually, are some of the strongest that we've seen so far. In terms of both characters and plot, but I think, we're talking about plot right now. But I think, in such a small span of time, we get a lot in terms of, like, the villains moving forward with Mahito, and we get a lot with, like, Junpei and, Yuji's relationship. I feel like a lot happens, and it does keep moving very well. I feel like we get a lot of progression, a lot of it character-wise, but I feel like the plot too, even though the main plot with Sukuna isn't necessarily moving forward right now, I don't think that really matters. I think even this arc in and of itself is pretty well encased as a story. I think mainly because Junpei is almost like the protagonist of this arc in a way. So it's almost self-enclosed, but also we get Yuji as a protagonist, as he is for the whole thing. But he's almost like a secondary protagonist in this arc, but it actually works that way. So I would say I would definitely give a yay for the plot.
I will also give a yay for the plot. Pacing was really good. There didn't really seem to be any like lulls in whatever was going on. We get this nice like ending to this God, what was this arc called in the manga? Something about a fish, or because it has something to do with like Junpei and like finding out about like cursed energy and like learning how to use his own and kind of like being under Mojito's tutelage for a bit, so that way he can like combat Yuji and kind of like the sort of like a plot that they're trying to go for with the League of Evil, because they're like, we want Yuji to make a pact with Sukuna, but they don't already know that he's made a pact that Yuji doesn't even remember. So there's that. But I feel like we are progressing a bit with the Sukuna plot, mostly in that we are seeing the League of Evil, like, with their plan slowly coming into motion. We only really get this one little snippet of it with Mojito and Suguru, who are up on the roof, and Junpei's about to go in and, like, mess with the school and whatever, and the students. But it's kind of more that they're putting pieces in place, like, they're the ones who, like, set up the finger in Junpei's house that made Junpei want to go on a rampage, and they basically planted it there. They're referring to also the one back at the detention center. That was them. And they're referring to the one at Junpei's house, which they're planning on having Jujutsu Tech already, like, take it back to Jujutsu Tech. So there's already stuff going on with that. They're like, how can we get all these fingers in one place at one time? So
put him in
I
Yuji's
feel like,
belly.
yeah, they're trying to get it all there all at once, so that way, like, hopefully, like, there's a large enough amount of them that when the time comes, they can just grab them all and go, from what it seems. So, I feel like we're progressing really good. The plot's definitely a yay for me, so yeah.
I'll say this. After the last two times we talked about the show, I said the plot was a meh for me because I was getting a little off-put by, the humor and the tone. Well, these stretch of episodes from episode 9 to 13, those episodes, they got me back into the show. I can't say anything bad about these episodes in all honesty with any aspect. I was invested in the story. It gave me exactly what I wanted out of a show like this. I thought the dynamic between Yuji and what was his name again? Junpei. I thought the dynamic between the two of them were great. I really liked the villain. I thought he was a intense, but at the same time subtle villain. He kind of balanced out between both whenever the situation depended on it. The tragedy of Junpei, I kind of saw it coming, but it was still heartbreaking when it happened. And the actual final fight, I thought was hype as shit. So, like, I thought everything worked out with this story, and you honestly could condense these 5 episodes into like a mini movie or a mini arc, which they are in the manga, but you can condense it into a mini movie. And I thought it worked out pretty well. So I have no issues with the plots this week for Jujutsu Kaisen, so I give it a yay.
That sounds like yays all around for plot. Let's talk characters. Gav?
Okay. So, I mean, this time, You get to meet. Well, I guess you got like to meet them a little bit like in episode 9, but like you really get to meet like in this arc, Junpei and Mahito and Nanami and yeah, mainly those guys. And they're pretty like all unique in their own ways. Junpei is, like this bullied kid in high school. He kinda, a nihilist. He doesn't think that like anything is really worthwhile because like or people are really like good because they bully him. I guess is like how he got that mindset, besides for Mahito kind of putting thoughts in his head too. And then you got Mahito, and he's just like extremely like powerful, like just so much like cursed energy because he is a curse, but like he's just an interesting like curse, like with his whole like being able to change the shape of his like soul and that kind of stuff to like which can change his like body. He's just a lot going on, and he's very like manipulative, which is always like a strong suit for a villain in my opinion. And then you got Nanami, who's also extremely powerful, and he's like, he's very relatable, as we talked about last time. And so that's always nice to see in a character. But yeah, you get a lot from them in these like arcs, because this is like all about them. Junpei dies, unfortunately, because he, tried to kill the one bully who hurt him, after his mom died, because he was like, you planted that finger in my house, didn't you? You're the one who killed my mom. And, yeah, and then, of course, like, when he confronts, Yuji, and him and Yuji are, like, fighting, because Yuji tries to stop him, and then Mahito turns him into that like troll-looking body thing, and then Junpei dies not long afterwards, after Yuji tries begging Sukuna to bring him back to being a human. And it's sad. Like, I was sad to see Junpei died. Like, I would have liked him to become a jujutsu sorcerer with like the rest of them. I thought he was going to, because of the opening, when they were all sitting together, and I was like, oh no. And him and Yuji just vibed so well. They were just like vibing and talking about movies and just having a good old time. And I was like, oh, they would have been such good friends. Why did this have to happen? So if you can feel for a character, they're, a pretty good character, I would say. And then, yeah, I don't really know what else to say, except these characters are really good and really well written and very like distinct in all their own ways, so it's definitely a yay for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they did a good job of making us really care about Junpei and his relationship with Yuji in a short span of time, which surprises me when some shows are able to do that. So I really enjoyed that aspect. I enjoyed their little talks about movies. And, it really did build it up, so it was going to be like, yeah, Yuji's going to, like, save this guy, and they're going to be friends, and, he's gonna be a good sorcerer, too. And it was tragic in the end, but I think it works that way. I wasn't really surprised because I read the manga before, but, I can still feel that I would have definitely been surprised by it, and I feel like the anime did a good job of portraying it and really building it up. And I like Junpei as an individual character. I think they showed, like, enough of his personality, enough of his wants and needs that I really cared about his arc. I liked his relationship with his mom as well as Yuji. And I found even his relationship with Mahito to be very interesting. So we got to see that sort of dynamic of like his relationship with the dark side with Mahito, and then his relationship with the light side with Yuji. So we got to see a lot of duality in Junpei. Mahito, I like a lot as a villain. I think he does have that childlike, I'm just gonna do what I want, take what I want, attitude about him, and I think it really works because he's just chaotic. And I think he definitely made for a good opponent to a character like Nanami. Nanami remains awesome. I liked that we got to see some more of his story and understand kind of more about why he is the way he is. Still very relatable. And yeah, I think those were the main characters we really got to know. I think they're still doing a good job of developing Yuji. And we actually saw him ready to, like, kill somebody, which is something that, we haven't seen before, like, that much of anger towards someone from him.
Is he a someone, or is he a thing?
Well, it's kind of like a humanoid thing. Either way, I think we saw a bit of a different side to Yuji, so I think it'll be interesting to see, especially how he interacts with a character like Sukuna later on due to this. We saw a little bit of Sukuna, but mostly just in terms of, okay, we know he has some plans involving Megumi, but we don't know exactly why he's so intent on keeping him alive yet, but we know something is stirring there. And, he continued to kind of mess with Yuji a little bit because of their pact that Yuji doesn't even remember. So yeah, I think all the characters, it all really fit together well. I think they were all developed well. I would absolutely give it a yay in this category.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a yay here too. I'm not gonna repeat a lot of what you guys said because I really, really agree with it. It's Junpei was a good character to have. I feel like we got a good bit of character development with him before he, was taken away from us. But I feel like him and his death also kind of developed Yuji's character a little bit as well. In that he now realizes that he can't save everyone. And it truly brings out I'm gonna say just feelings in him that he's probably I never want to feel this way about anything. I don't really want to kill anyone, but because of what you've done to my friend, I'm gonna want to fucking kill you. As far as Junpei's death is concerned, I'm honest. When it happened, I wasn't really surprised. And I only really think I wasn't surprised mostly because I pay a lot of attention to the opening because I'm there are some subtle details in here that I feel like are going to be important. So usually I'll at least pay somewhat close attention. There's this little glitchy moment where, they're all outside and having that picnic thing where it does the close-up of Yuji and Junpei, and it's a really nice little scene, but then it just glitches out real quick before it finishes up the opening. I'm just oh, something's gonna happen with that and it's not gonna be good. So I always was just keeping that in the back of my head, just reminding myself, I'm something bad's gonna happen with this kid and I don't think I'm gonna like it. But anyway, as far as Mahito as a character, he's definitely as he says, he's basically his he's Yuji's worst match, worst enemy, whatever, and it's Mahito himself has definitely brought out the worst, or at least a darker side of Yuji in killing Junpei, but also just Mahito as a character himself is kind of interesting. Again, as we said, he's very young for a curse. And so, it's just sort of interesting that he, being the youngest and most inexperienced out of all of the curses we've been introduced to so far, is basically kind of like the ringleader almost, and the one who's doing most of the plotting and strategizing with Suguru. So to me, it's kind of like everyone else is kind of falling in behind him, and I'm kind of like wondering why. If maybe it's just the fact that he's a little bit more like idealistic and a little more gung-ho to try to get things going so that way they can bring about the Age of Curses, because that's basically what they're trying to do here. So as far as characters go, yeah, I'm definitely a yay here.
As far as me, I liked Yuji's interactions with Junpei. I thought like I said earlier, they worked well together. I thought Junpei was a very, tragic character. Obviously, you feel happy for him when he has his moments of happiness with Yuji, and then you obviously feel terrible about him whenever he loses his mother, and he just basically gives up on the world and humanity, and you want to try and, see him overcome his demons, and obviously that doesn't happen, which is sad, but it's still it's a tragic, but, still an effective way to write his character. I like Nanami a lot. This may sound blasphemy, and you guys might shun me for this, but I might like him just a little bit more than Gojo. I know Gojo's the man, and Gojo's awesome, but I don't know. I just liked his nonchalant attitude and how he just he doesn't seem. He both seems like he doesn't give a shit while also secretly giving a shit while also saying you're a piece of shit at the same time, and I kind of liked that. I liked his dynamic with Yuji a lot, and I think that he provides, a good structure teacher relationship that Yuji needs at times, because obviously Gojo, he's a loose cannon, so there's that. And I like Mahito a lot as a villain. I think he's creepy, he's manipulative, he's got a lot of qualities that I like in my villains. He's both charming, he's both demented, I don't know, I just like him a lot as a villain. And so whenever you had that final three-way fight between Yuji, Nanami, and him, I thought it was epic. I thought it was like a nice, final boss in a video game or final fight in a movie type fight, and I think it was well earned. And we didn't get a lot of the traditional side characters like Nobara and Megami in these episodes, but I didn't think they needed to. It was a side arc to further Yuji's character and the characters that we got. While we didn't see them, like with Junpei, we didn't get them a lot, but what we did get counted a lot. So I give it a yay as well.
Yeah, I'm a yay here too. I agree with everything you guys are saying. Chibi was good bringing up the Suguro and the Mojito dynamic, which is reminiscent of something else I saw in Shippuden, but whatever.
Wow.
I won't go into it. Look, I think the main thing I just want to say is this. This actually kind of reminded me a little bit of Cowboy Bebop, because it's one of those shows that you can see a character, meet a character for a very short amount of time, and yet it was a few episodes here. It can be like one episode in Bebop, which is why Bebop is one of the best shows ever made. But you can meet them, identify with them, like them, and then lose them in a single episode or a few episodes, and it leaves an impact on you. I'm actually kind of reminded of the I forget which episode it's called, but it's the one where Spike goes to Venus by himself and meets this kid who wants to learn martial arts from him. He actually kind of had a bit of a similar arc and kind of falling with the wrong crowd kind of thing, and it doesn't end well for him either. But it's a very satisfying story. It's a very cathartic story. Not necessarily great for everybody in the end, but I cared about the kid, which I knew for less than 20 minutes in Bebop, and I care about Junpei despite knowing him for such a short amount of time. He works. Everybody works together very well, and this is a really good show for those characters, so I'm going to give it a yay as well. And it looks like yays all around for character. Why don't we get into world building? Yin?
World building. I feel like one of the things that really stuck out to me the most in terms of world building was we got to learn more about the souls. Mahito talks a lot about that because, I mean, what he does is basically like twist the souls. So he talked a lot about like what comes first, like the soul or the body, and it seems like the body shapes around the soul, not the other way around. So he's able to like change his body at will as he changes his soul, basically, and he can like twist human beings into like these distorted creatures through that. So I thought that that was some interesting bit of world building. Now we know more about the souls. I'm trying to think of anything else really significant that we learned. I don't remember that much else that stuck out to me as being world building, but I think that that was significant enough that I would probably give it a soft yay. I also feel like, you know, we learned a little bit about Nanami's technique, probably a few other techniques as well. I feel like overall I still got a strong sense of the world in these episodes. I think it continued to do well with that, so I'd give it a soft yay.
Yeah, I'd give it a soft yay here too. There wasn't really a whole lot, but yeah, with what Yin said, from what we did get, it was good. The only thing I kind of, and granted, this may also be a character thing, the thing I kind of need developed here is why isn't Yuji affected by the poisons as we saw with the jellyfish? That's the only thing I want known and explained to me, please.
Because he's tough.
I feel like there's another explanation for that, but I feel like we'll get to that.
Chakra.
Chakra.
Cursed energy.
Wah, wah, wah.
Branding is branding.
Anyway, yeah, I don't really have like a whole lot to say here. Oh, I guess the other really interesting thing was when we're getting a little bit of Nanami's backstory with the bakery, and then there's the girl who works behind the counter, who always gives him his sandwich. Apparently, like, she's got like a little curse, like I think he called it a fly head on her shoulder, and basically it basically manifests itself to her as like a weight. So I'm like, oh, so humans can like technically physically feel these things, which I guess in a way sort of makes sense because like of how the curses affect humans outside of like, you know, in the real world and outside of like the realm of jujutsu. But yeah, I thought that was like sort of interesting. So yeah, light yay.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the world building is concerned for these episodes, it pretty much showed stuff that, well, it's, you know, new powers, new domain expansions, you know, stuff like that. It's something that we, you know, have seen before. It's nothing, you know, earth-shattering, and the other stuff that we get with, like, the characters and motivations, like with the other evil League of Villains or Lemons, it's kind of setting up for the future, so kind of a soft yay, yeah, but I mean, yeah, obviously the focus of these episodes was the dynamics between the characters, so soft yay.
Yeah, I'm a soft yay here too. I like a lot of again, like everyone's saying, it's the powers mostly that we're seeing. Some of which we've seen before, some where we're seeing expanded versions of, like the overtime thing that Nanami used, and the jellyfish. And like especially the, like you guys were saying about the soul thing. I think like, yeah, he has that I think that's primarily just his philosophy about the soul and the body thing. I think that's just his cursed technique more than anything
really?
else.
I thought
Yeah.
he was talking about how the world operates.
See, to some degree I got that, but at the same time, we've seen other people like Nanami, like his curse technique was to create a critical hit point that, if he wasn't using his curse technique, wouldn't exist. I think to some degree, these cursed energy and some other things allows you to manipulate reality a little bit to shape reality in a way that you can use it to your advantage. Now, what that manifests in, it can be different for every person. Like, for Nanami, it's the chopping point. Or for Gojo, it's creating black holes out of nothing or something like that. I think, for Mahito, his power, his cursed energy allows him... Yeah, there's probably his souls and whatnot, but I don't know that his philosophy is correct, but I do know that I think his curse technique allows him to manipulate the body by manipulating
Wait, how
the soul.
are you defining his philosophy? Like, which part are you talking about? Just so I'm clear.
That they're souls and not hearts, and the soul is whatever, and you can do whatever you want because nothing matters. I think that philosophy kind of allows him to think in that sort of way, which allows him to manipulate things because nothing matters, nothing is true, nothing is solid, so why not be able to manipulate it?
I don't know, though, because that makes it sound like everything in this world is, like, relative, and you just apply techniques to it. I'm not sure if that's how it
To some degree,
operates.
they're using magic. When you start using things like magic, to some degree, everything is a little relative.
But I feel like it's based on something, you know?
That's fair. I could be talking out of my ass. And
I could be as well. I mean, I have to look into it again. I don't remember everything.
I'm gonna throw out there, at one point earlier in this series, Sukuna mentioned that people didn't really understand what curses were.
Yeah.
We've been told a number of times what they are by the Jujutsu sorcerers, the sorcerers. But to be fair, that might just be part of their philosophy, their look at it. Maybe this is like the Force, you know? If you come at it from one angle, you have certain abilities and a philosophy, and it works for you a certain way. If you come at it from another angle, it does something else.
I think one thing that makes sense with that, I guess, is that the curses are created by, like, the fears and stuff of people.
Mm-hmm.
So the world is co-created in a way. But I don't know if I'd like to consider it just completely relative. I don't know. Like, but I'd have to look into it more. Maybe it is to some extent.
It's a theory more than anything else. But more
Yeah,
than anything,
that makes
I'm going to
sense,
say
honestly,
this. From
yeah.
a world building thing, it really opens up a lot of possibilities and ideas. And,
Yeah.
what does this do? What does that do? It's like, I'm just enjoying this conversation, just this discourse about it. This is.
Unless the
really
manga says
fascinating
otherwise,
world.
you can always just say, it's your interpretation of it.
That's true.
Right. I don't remember it saying anything that specific about it. You know?
And you have been further ahead than I have.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I don't quite remember because I've been reading along weekly, so it's hard to maintain everything.
Yeah, no,
you know?
I get that. So, unless someone can tell me in canon that there is, like, what I'm saying is complete bullshit and I have no idea what I'm talking about, it's just a thought that
I definitely don't think it's
marinating
bullshit. I think, like, it's maybe kind of like what Envy was talking about, where you can interpret it different ways.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Chibi?
But I'll have to look back.
No, nothing. I completely lost my train of thought because people kept talking. It's okay.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, I wasn't speaking loud enough anyway. It's fine.
I think that's part of the thing of, like, doing this, like, remotely. No matter how loudly you speak, we can't hear you because it, like, cuts you out.
It kind of sucks, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll stop talking. I'm a soft yay here because although I really like what we're seeing and the interesting stuff, it's not really an expansion. It's more of just, like, a little bit more in depth of some stuff that we've already seen. So yeah, soft yay.
I'm also soft yay, just because of the same reason you gave Al. I think Envy gave, like, a similar reason, just, like, it's a little bit more information about, like, how stuff works, but it's not, like, really world information, which, it makes sense because this is, like, focused on, like, the characters mainly, like, in this arc. But, yeah, so I'd give it a soft yay.
Is that everyone? I think that was everyone. Yeah, this looked like relatively in the area of a soft yay. Chibi, did you have anything else to say on it, or?
I completely lost my train of thought.
Okay. Well, let's move on then into art and animation. Chibi, you get to take this one. No one else will talk over you.
Okay, art and animation. Well, I mean, this would kind of sort of be a little bit more of a gush session, mostly just like with these fight scenes, because we get the one with Mahito and Nanami, which is a really great fight scene where they're running through the sewers, and it's actually like pretty impressive one, especially like from all the angles that they take with these. And then we do get a little more of a fight scene later on with Yuji and Junpei in the school, which that was all well and good, and it was great to watch. But then you get the one with Yuji and Nanami and Mahito later on, and it's just chef's kiss. It's great. I don't really have a lot to comment about character designs. I feel like it is definitely really interesting, like, just how many variations we sort of got to see of Mahito throughout these episodes. Mostly just with the fact that he's, like, now that he sort of, like, is able to experiment with his own body, and he's come to, like, you know, be like, yeah, I think maybe in my next fight I'm probably gonna have to use, like, a shape that's probably more meant for murder in order to take this guy out, that he starts, like, doing a lot of, like, really weird stuff with his arms, and we get spikes at one point, and then it's just kind of bananas, and honestly, it's a good kind of bananas, because it's just all very intense and exciting, and I really enjoyed watching it. But aside from that, not really any change in character designs. So I feel like I would have to give it somewhere between like a soft yay and a yay.
I mean, it's definitely a high yay for me. If there's been one thing about this show that I can definitely say that that without a doubt is that this show production wise is like top tier. Like the art style is unique, but it's still gorgeously animated. There isn't anything cheap about the show at all, with the designs, with the action, with the fights, anything, you name it. Everything looked distinct, everything looked unique. Well, except for, you know, what Al mentioned a couple weeks ago, but we can ignore that for now. Everything else looked really good, and yeah, I gotta talk about that fight. I mean, yeah, obviously I was more invested in the fight because of the story and how it was like I mentioned earlier, like the final fight, but still, the actual fight itself was gorgeously animated and gorgeously choreographed. So, yeah, I got nothing but praises to say about the art and animation. It's a yay for me.
I'm a yay here as well. I don't know what else you need to say. Like, the show has been top tier animation wise since episode 1. They didn't skimp any bit here. In fact, I think they like probably added a couple extra bucks in there just to give that like little extra oomph to that last fight, because this was probably the showcase for the first core of this show, was that the Mahito Yuji Nanami fight. Like, the whole thing, you get 2 episodes of like just straight up brawl between a shapeshifter and a super strong dude, and then a dude who, I don't know how to describe his thing without like sounding weird, like the critical hit thing. It looks great. 5 stars. Great job. Yay.
Yeah, I'd also give it a yay. I think the animation is, you know, it's, as Al said, like, it's been good from day one, and it just, you know, I think it might have just gotten better, like, the last, like, episode we watched, with the fight scene between the 3 of them, and especially, like, they paid a lot of attention to Mahito's facial expressions, which is a point that I wanted to bring up. Like, like, when he's in pain, like, you can tell, like, he looks like he's in pain. And, like, it probably, like, is... I haven't read the manga, but I assume it's, like, similar to, like, how they animate, like... or how they draw, like, faces in the manga. Maybe. But if not, Like, you know what I'm just saying, though? Like, how in manga stills, like, sometimes you'll get, like, a certain, like, facial expression because they're trying to convey an emotion without, like, the animation there. I'm not necessarily saying it's the same for the manga in this anime because I haven't read the manga, but, like, just in general, it's like, it feels like a manga moment to me, kind of, like, the way that they, are animating it, like, where it's just very, like, well drawn. And, yeah, so I would give it a definite yay.
Yeah, I'd give it a yay too. I don't have that much to add that everybody else didn't already say, but yeah, I think the animation stays consistently good, especially when it comes to fight scenes and whenever they're using their techniques. So it's definitely a yay.
Sounds like yays all around. Why don't we move on? Envy, take us into sound and dubbing.
Sound and dubbing. The dubbing I think is pretty good. It's not, my favorite dub of all time, but it's above average. All the characters sound really well. But the sound's on another level. I mean, I just love the sounds the curses make. Like when when Yuji makes his like fists and like that energy builds up. I love that sound that it builds up, and then Nanami with his axe attacks or whatever that thing is called,
Cleaver.
That cleaver, that the sounds that it makes is really good. The sounds that Mojito makes, like all the sounds are fantastic, and it just adds to the overall presentation. So yeah, it's another high A for me on that front.
I have to agree with that. There wasn't a whole lot here to highlight as far as the dub goes. I feel like we've usually had a couple spots where we're like, oh, these lines are really, really good. But even without that, this is still a solid yay for a dub. And the sound and everything else, the music, everything really works. And again, in the fights especially, which is the showcase of these particular episodes, like everything came together really, really well. So yeah, I'm a yay.
I'm a soft yay for the dubbing. I mean, I think most of it's good. At first, when I watched it, I, like, wasn't a huge fan of Junpei's, like, voice, just because I thought it was just kind of, like, it fits his, like, his look, like, it fits his face. It's just I wasn't a big fan of how, like, it sounded. But then, like, I had to rewatch it for these episodes, and I was, like, not as bothered by it, so it's still a yay for me.
Yeah, I feel like overall everything fit for me. I agree with what everybody else said about the sound. I think the sound design has been really good these few episodes. I'd give it a yay.
Yeah, I'd also give it a yay. I don't really have anything to add.
Sounds like yays all around for sound and dubbing. Let's get into openings and endings. I'll take this. I mean, it's a yay. Like, do I have to say anything at this point? We've been giving this thing yays since we first saw it. Opening's good. Ending is friggin' fantastic. Yay.
Yeah, I have the same opinion, so yay.
Yeah, it's a yay. Same as it's been.
Same.
I mean, yeah, the opening is pretty good. I like the animation. The song is pretty good, but yeah, there's a reason why Lost in Paradise won the best ED award at this year's Crunchyroll Anime Awards. It's just that good. It's a masterpiece. So yeah, yay.
That's a yay for opening and ending. Gav, take us into final thoughts.
Final thoughts, okay. This arc, these 4 episodes that we watched, I think was fantastic. It's just everything about it is comes together real nice. It gets you more villain action more, I guess, character development for Yuji, and for, introduces you to, other characters as well. And I just think that, yeah, like I said, it's just fantastic. I would definitely keep watching more. I have, I think I'm only, an episode ahead of this, where we watched, but, because I was watching the dub, and it was only up to episode 14 when I was watching it. So, back when I did, watch this last arc, for the first time. But yeah, it's really good, and I would give it a yay.
Yeah, I think these couple episodes only reinforced how good the show is, and, I did continue watching, and I absolutely would continue watching. I don't really have anything bad to say about these episodes. I think they were done really well. And even though, this arc kind of ended, so it didn't really end on a cliffhanger or anything, I feel like you still want to know where it goes next, and you still want to continue on the journey with these characters. And I think that's one of the most important things, is that they really made the characters ones that you like and you root for. So it's a yay.
I will say, for me, this show, really just drew me in, so well that, as you guys know, after I watched the first 3 episodes for this podcast, I immediately then went and watched the rest of what was out currently at the time. So, for me, I feel like the fact that I became so engrossed in this show and the characters, and just really fell in love with everything that's going on, even if a lot of it is dark and pretty tragic. I feel like this show just it keeps me enticed. It's got good pacing, and I feel like I really want to see where it's going. So yeah, it's a yay for me.
Well, I think it's been no secret that I've been the biggest stickler, Grinch, curmudgeon, or curmudgeon, or whatever you call it, about this show.
Curmudgeon?
Curmudgeon, that's the word. And I'm not going to say I hated the show, even when I dropped it. I just thought there was some issues I had with its tone and with its humor, and, just in general. I was invested in how the universe worked. I especially love the animation. It was just certain episodes in the first 8 kind of just threw me off with its humor, which, I'm into bizarre shit as long as it makes sense to me, which, given my taste in anime, that might seem like a hypocritical thing, but whatever.
JoJo fans.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for that to bring up. But that being said, these 5 episodes, I'm going to count episode 9 in this because it starts the arc. Episodes 9 through 13 of Jujutsu Kaisen is the type of tone I want the rest of the show to be, and the rest of the story. If the manga could be, and granted, I have seen all the first season, so I know what 2 arcs are coming up, but going forward, if the arcs can have dynamic, personable characters like this, have high stakes, and, have kick-ass action at the same time, it'd be something I'd definitely be enjoying a lot more and definitely get more into. But as far as these 5 episodes, you can honestly watch them pretty well as a standalone thing. You might need a little bit more context, but as it stands, you can watch these 5 episodes together and be pretty satisfied overall. So it definitely got me back into the show. So it did its job. So I give it a yay.
Yeah, I'm a yay here as well. This has just been a really good show. I don't think I've been, other than some character design stuff and some character that, go back and watch the slideshow that I had 2 or 3 episodes ago. I forget how long ago it was. I'm going to continue watching this, win or lose. So yeah, if that's not a yay, that's a yay. And it sounds like yays all around for final thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen. So, let's talk about the other contender for the night. The other person, group, show up for the championship, Naruto. Who, I'm gonna be honest, I thought there was a early in this series, I was like, early when we were like starting these brackets and that, I'm like, okay, we got a couple favorites like going into this that people are like, oh, these are like considered really good shows, and there's a couple underdogs. I kind of expected Naruto to be a bit of an underdog, and I'm a little surprised they made. I don't know. I guess like I'm so used to people being like, oh, we don't like it. But
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. I felt like the left side of the bracket was more top heavy.
Yeah.
You know, I randomly selected everything, and it just kind of But let's talk about what happened this week in Naruto, episodes 10 through 13. So, last time we left off with the Zabuza fight that got finished, and Haku took away Zabuza, and, no more villain. We're good. We're in the clear, everybody. Kakashi's not doing so well, but, he recovered. He's just used up too much chakra with that Sharingan. It's a killer move, but it just takes a lot out of you. But then Kakashi realizes Zabuza's still alive. Who actually saw that coming?
I mean, I kind of figured he wasn't dead.
Okay, I was wondering how well they convinced you in the last episode.
I mean, I was a little bit confused as to why, like, he used needles and not something else, and also just kind of, like, why they didn't make it conclusive. So, yeah, I mean, and when I say conclusive, it means death on screen.
Yeah, usually with anime, they
die on screen.
I mean, usually with anime, they say the rule is if you don't see the body, they aren't dead. But you kind of saw the body, but even then, it was kind of like, oh,
they checked his pulse.
Okay, yeah. I gotta say, I didn't expect it. I thought he was dead.
Okay, so one.
I was the only one fooled, I guess.
Okay. I didn't know. I was just kind of like, we'll see what happens. I don't really care. I was just kind of like, we'll see.
That's fair.
Okay, so it turns out Haku is a bad guy. He is not part of the elite tracking unit, the Ambu Black Ops. He is a charlatan who, took Zabuza's body away because they're running the show together. And Zabuza's like, oh, God, I need to get back out there and kill this Kakashi guy. He wounded my pride. I think that's basically what his deal is right now. Outside of being paid and whatnot, but he's like, fuck that guy. And Haku's like, dude, you're gonna need like a week. Just take it easy. I'll take care of you, because that's my whole deal. So, while that's happening, Kakashi has explained to everyone, so this guy's definitely still alive because needles are not an effective killing weapon. And he hit him in pressure points and blah, blah, blah. And, he put him in a death state. So he looked dead, but wasn't dead. He was only mostly dead.
Yeah.
He wasn't the Wicked Witch of the West. He's gravely, most sincerely dead.
All the references. Anywho, they're like, he's going to be coming back, and he's going to be coming back hard. You guys need to start training up. You guys need to learn to do better chakra control, and you're going to learn that by climbing trees. We get a re-explanation, actually a little bit more of an in-depth explanation about chakra this time around. We had Naruto's version, which is just, you have energy, use it, make jutsu. And Sakura's version is, here's where the energy comes from. Here's how you combine it together. And then here's what this happens, and this is why you can do all this. And then Kakashi goes a little further by being like, the precise amount of the chakra that you use, how you utilize it, like the intensity, stuff like that. By controlling that, you can do better techniques. You can learn better. You can be more effective. And, a lot of it is like being efficient. Like, if you waste all of your chakra early in a fight, you're not going to be able to last in that fight for very long. He also, kind of talks to himself a little bit. Is like, Naruto has more chakra than, like, anybody because he's got a demon inside of him. But you know what? He still needs to learn chakra control because he will be a fucking monster once he figures that out. So he's like, you guys got to learn by climbing trees without your hands. And the way you do that is you get chakra to go to the bottom of your feet, and then use it to stick to the tree, like a Spider-Man. And so they're trying to learn how to do that. Naruto can't do it because he has no control. Sasuke can kind of do it, but he keeps breaking the tree because he's forcing it too much. He's got a bit of a Zuko vibe, or like he had early in Avatar. And Sakura can instantly do it because this is literally the only thing she's good at, is controlling her chakra. Because she has so much.
I was going to say she finally did something in these episodes.
She finally did something, and she will not do anything again for quite some time. This is her last victory for the foreseeable future. Anyway, they're doing training and all that sort of stuff. Zabuza's trying to get better, and the little mob boss man is there to be like, hey, I thought you were supposed to be some tough guy. And Haku, like, breaks his arm and then nearly kills his samurai. He's like, you guys should leave. I'm angry. I'm like, Haku, you're very cool. I like you. Anyway, they do some training. Naruto, Sakura's like, oh, he's gonna get real frustrated and just go off and be like, yeah, he's gonna throw a tantrum. But Naruto does not throw tantrum. He actually asks for advice from Sakura, and she graciously gives it to him. Everybody is maturing today.
Yay.
Sakura still is just constantly going like, oh, Sasuke! But, you know, what are you gonna do? It's her character at this point. Anywho, we then get the story of the hero of the Land of Waves, some guy named... And he was the stepdad of the grandson of the bridge builder. And he said, we get this story, this kid, Inari, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inari.
He was getting bullied. The bullies wanted his...
Dog.
They call it a dog. I think it's a cat. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're like, well, if I can't have it, no one can. And the bully throws the cat dog in the in the ocean. And then they throw him in after the dog. And he's like, I can't swim. And they're like, hey, we might have just killed the kid. And he's like, fuck it, who cares? So they run off and are never seen again. Despite attempted murder. Anyway, the cat dog learns how to swim, and this is what makes me think he's a cat. He doesn't give a fuck. He just runs off. So, yeah. Anyway, kid's gonna drown, but then he wakes up next to the smell of delicious fish caught by a fisherman with who is voiced by Iruka Sensei, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he's like, hey, I had a talking with those ruffians that you were hanging out with. They won't be bothering you again. I'm pretty sure he killed them. And the dog. I'm pretty sure he killed the dog, too. They might be eating the dog.
Ew.
I don't know.
Please no.
No. Anyway, kid didn't have a father figure in his life. Clung to that kid, and then I guess eventually he just started banging the mom. And that's about it. He was dad now. And then there was a flood, and the floodgate broke open, and he was the only man who could swim through the current because he's that tough. And they did that, but then Gato came, and they crucified him. It's very... I don't know if it was intentional. Part of me thinks it has to be. Because the guy is captured, the hero of the people is captured by the corrupt individual in power, tied up, beaten all night, and then tied to a cross and then stabbed in the side in the next day. Like, I've heard this story before.
Yeah.
So odd that we're, like, watching it this time of year.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's after Easter.
I mean, like, he was literally crucified, Jesus style, on the cross.
Yep. So yeah, that happened, and everybody lost hope. But now the bridge will bring hope. And so after hearing all that, it's this whole... I think this family's whole thing is like, here, let me tell you an extra story that's going to guilt you into doing this for us.
Yeah.
Like, Literally the only things they ever say to the ninjas are like, hey, life is so bad. Thank you for coming here and doing this for free. Yeah. So Sakura's on bodyguard duty while Tazuna works on the bridge. And I'm like, God, that's the perfect time to make an assassination attempt. Where are you at? Where are you at, Gato? You're an idiot. But yeah, Sasuke and Naruto are still tree climbing and whatnot, and Sasuke finally breaks down. He's like, oh God, he's catching up to me. I gotta ask. Hey, Naruto, what did Sakura tell you? Did she give you advice? And he's like, I'm not telling you. And so yeah, good old. It's fun. It's fun to see Sasuke break down a little bit. He's always so stoic. But yeah, the rivalry continues, and we're like, me and Yin were kind of like going back and forth, like, what is their rivalry at this point? I think it's this point it's kind of like Bakugo a little bit for Sasuke, because he's like, oh, this guy was nothing, and now he's catching up to me. What is happening? I don't know.
Except Sasuke wasn't a giant-ass bully that tormented him.
That's true. That's true. I like Sasuke better than Bakugo. That's not a hard thing to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're trying to one-up each other. They try to out-eat each other, and oh wait, that's when we get the little story thing. Whatever. Anyway, Naruto trains all night to the point where he passes out, and then Haku lets his hair down, puts on his best kimono, or whatever that dress is, and decides to go herb picking for Zabuza, because he needs herbs. And he comes across Naruto. He's not a she. He comes across Naruto, thinks about choking a bitch, but then doesn't. And he's like, hey, wake up. I need character development.
Yeah.
So yeah, Naruto is smitten as fuck at that point, because Haku's pretty. He's a pretty boy.
Yeah.
So they pick some herbs. We have a flashback of Haku's backstory about how he lived on the streets and had to kick a dog to eat trash, and eventually was found by Zabuza, who had a haunter shadow on him. To imply that he's a monster. Anyway, Now he's like, do you have someone precious to you? Because if you have someone precious to you, that makes you strong. And Naruto doesn't understand. He keeps calling him sis. And he kind of just walks away, and he's like, by the way, I'm a boy. And he's like, holy crap, that just rocked Naruto's world, because he was about ready to ask him out, I think. I don't know. Maybe this is the point where he realized, maybe Sasuke is an option. But Sasuke comes and smacks him for assuming genders. Anyway, they keep training. Zabuza gets stronger. Everybody's training and doing stuff until eventually they get to the top of the tree. And then it's time to go, everybody protect the bridge builder. God, good thing that no one attacked the bridge builder while the most useless ninja was on bodyguard duty. Now all the useful ones are here too. So of course that's when Zabuza attacks. And he beats up but does not kill the rest of the workers. Kind of a nice move, like just a nice guy moment from him, I guess. I was really expecting to see like a bunch of body parts lying around. But he attacks him with some clones. Sasuke shows off his new skills and takes out some clones. And he's like, I'm super fast now, and I got chakra control, and all that sort of stuff. You going down, Mask Kid. And so Haku's like, I'm not taking that line down. And they start fighting. They start showing off their skills. They got speed. They got not really strength. They're not really strength people. They're mostly speed and throwing knives people, or needles in Haku's case. But Haku can do something that Kakashi has never seen, which is do hand signs with only one hand. We will never see that ever again. Ever. It is only something that Haku will do at only this point in the series.
Wait, he never does it again?
Yep. This is the only time you will see it. I'm like, that is such a useful thing.
Interesting.
Like, because when you really think about it, if you have to use both hands to do every time you want to do something, you cannot hold a weapon or something else. It's very difficult to do that. But like, if you can do it with one hand, I'm like, damn, that's actually that is an incredibly useful talent that you have instantly gotten above everybody else. But
Only once.
Only once. Anywho. They fight. Haku is not doing as great as he wants to. So he's like, well, guess we're going to have to do this. He kind of offers Sasuke a bit of an olive branch. Like, hey, I don't want to kill you. Maybe just leave. So, Haku doesn't like killing people, I don't think. He just does what he has to. Anywho, he turns a bunch of water into ice mirrors. Well, he did the needle thing first, and then Sasuke kind of showed off a little bit by jumping around. He makes a bunch of ice mirrors around Sasuke, enters the mirrors, and then just starts tearing Sasuke apart with needles. So it's nothing fatal. But, yeah. And then Naruto, meanwhile, has been beating up samurai that tried to attack the home of everybody. The kind of thing that they should have been doing the whole time. I'm like, where were these samurai when it was just Sakura defending the bridge bill? I'm like, that happens, arc over. You're done. But yeah, so Naruto acts cool, beats up the samurai guys who, I swear to God, are from One Piece. And he gives the little kid some hope again and runs off to help the fight, and he shows up in a puff of smoke and he's like, I'm here to save the day. And we don't know whether he'll save the day or not, because that's the end of the episodes. And yeah, middle of a fight, all that good stuff. Plot. Who's up for plot? Are you up for plot? I think you're up for plot again.
Okay, so the plot, I was a little bit mixed because I really liked some elements and then some other elements I wasn't so sure about. So I'm just going to start with what I really liked. I liked seeing some of the training stuff. I expected that maybe I'd be a little bit bored with it, but, it was nice seeing a bit more of the rivalry and a bit more of, at least something that Sakura can do. So I kind of liked that plot. And I liked seeing them grow strong enough, especially like Sasuke grow strong enough to fight Haku. Another bright spot for me was Haku. I thought that, he's developing into an interesting character. I liked his interaction with Naruto and the stuff he's got going on with Zabuza. So I liked all of that a lot. I liked the development between Naruto and Sasuke. However, I don't know the purpose of this little boy and his family. Kind of like what Al was saying, it just seems like they're there to guilt trip people, and I just don't know why we need that whole flashback that will never have any relevance again. Like, I feel that it's never going to come up again. And I kind of turned to Al while we were watching it, and he was like, yeah, it doesn't have any relevance to the future plot. So I just did not
it has relevance to this plot.
Right, but, like, I don't know, does it come back after this? Like, does the dad who died have something to do with something later on? I don't know.
Wait, what was your theory early on?
My theory was that Zabuza was the dad. At least then it would be connected in some way. I thought that's why the kid was so bitter, because his dad left.
I should point out, in case anyone's confused, the Land of Waves and the Land of Water, despite having a lot of similar elements, are not the same place. So the Land of Waves does not have a ninja village.
All right, either way, I thought that maybe, like, there must be some relevance to the overall plot with, like, this kid and stuff. But I don't know, I just didn't get that whole thing going on. I get that maybe it has some relevance to this current plot, but... And then, like, Sakura walking around the town and being like, wow, poor people exist. I was just like, okay.
Wow.
It was a little weird, but
it brings up a question of, if their nation is so poor, where did they get the money for the building materials?
Right.
Yeah.
Because this is not a small little, like, footbridge. This is like a big-ass, like, fucking 3-lane highway-looking thing.
They got it somehow, even though they barely have food in their little grocery store wherever she was. So
I think that's where the entirety of the budget went.
It all went to the bridge.
But if that's the case, how is it people don't believe in the bridge?
You have to at that point. I don't know. There's some issues.
There's some
there.
plot holes.
I don't like
holes.
this town, basically. I don't like the citizens of this town.
I mean, they pretty much said that Gato wants to just run that place into the ground, and that if outside traders came in, it would trample in on his business. That's why he doesn't want the bridge to be built, and that's why the bridge builder wants the bridge to be built, so that way outside commerce can come in and help with their financial situation again.
Not to keep interrupting your section, because this is still your section, but why doesn't Gato just try a bomb?
Yeah.
Like, this bridge is nearly to the other side.
Yeah.
How have you not just tried an explosive device?
Yeah, he's just been sitting on his ass.
Yeah, I don't...
Either way, yeah, there's some holes for me in this entire village. However, I think the other parts kind of made up for it for me. I really did enjoy a lot of the other elements, particularly with the main group of characters and with Haku and Zabuza. So, and I feel that they're more relevant overall than this village, which I feel is only relevant to this arc. So, I'm gonna give it a soft yay despite my issues. I still think the plot was really interesting, and I was engaged the whole time. I had a lot of fun with the episodes. So, I'm still gonna give it a soft yay.
So I'm also gonna be giving it a soft yay for plot, mostly just because I don't really know what it was, but in comparison to Jujutsu Kaisen's 4 episodes that we watched this week, for whatever reason, I felt like these 4 episodes dragged on, and I don't know if it was just, like, the pacing that these episodes took, but it just felt super, super slow, and I'm not sure if it's mostly just because it got bogged down by, like, the backstory stuff that we needed to go over with the kid and his family, because that did take up, like, a good chunk of one episode. But even then, like, I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting to learn a little bit more about this kid and his situation, and, like, it's also a little bit of, like, a teaching moment for Naruto, because he realizes this kid's a lot like himself, like, once he, like, you know, starts really thinking about it. But aside from that, like, I liked a good bit of what we saw. I didn't really think it was bad, aside from pacing and things. So yeah, I'd give it a light yay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't mind these episodes too much. I liked the the fun dynamic between Naruto and Sasuke regarding, you know, their attempts to try and climb the tree with their chakras, and I kind of liked how it was something that Sasuke had to struggle with too. It didn't come easy to him. And, you know, obviously the little boy, he's not going to be relevant once this arc is over. But at the same time, I feel like this boy kind of was like a nice teaching moment to Naruto, especially, you know, when he kind of sees himself in him a little bit too. And, you know, how little boy was starting to overcome his own turmoil with his, you know, stepdadish father figure kind of, you know, he felt bad, he felt guilty, but he's starting to get more confidence, which I think is nice, and it shows that Naruto can be more than just, you know, the crazy, you know, hyperactive ninja guy. So yeah, I didn't mind the plots to these episodes. I like, you know, the dynamic between I like the dynamic with Haku and Zabuza. I thought they worked well together, and yeah, there was some pacing issues, but overall I didn't mind them that much. So I give it the plot a yay.
I'm gonna go a soft yay here. I think you're right. I think, like, part of this is, like, yeah, this is bogged down a little bit by the family, which, like, I should care. They want me to care. I just don't know that they're executing it well enough. We talked about this earlier in the podcast. Like, there's certain shows that do really well with, like, making you care about a character who is relevant to the short-term plot, and doing it well and making it lasting and impactful. And they didn't do it that well here.
Yeah, it's like you kind of contrast it with how the other one did Junpei.
We'll get there, yeah. But Yeah, I'm a soft yay because, like, I do still think, like, things were moving, and they were moving a lot faster than they were in the last 3 episodes, especially. I had issues with the last 3 episodes, especially with the flashbacks. The flashbacks, there's a bunch here, but they're exactly what I said a good flashback should be. Either you're adding information that we didn't have, like, we didn't particularly enjoy the story about the hero of the waves or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's information we didn't have before, so that's fine to do that with a flashback story or whatever. We didn't have Haku's backstory. We got that in flashback. We got enough information there. We didn't get a ton, but we got enough information to really understand where he was coming from. And we had that other one that I mentioned, the reestablishing the character thing. Short, sweet, just show the quick little clips that remind us, oh, this stuff has been building up. We had that with Naruto and little clips of him. It was very short, and it worked. It emphasized what was going on without bogging the plot down and padding it out. I gotta tell you, it was really refreshing to see Naruto flashbacks that actually worked. So yeah, I have to give him a lot of more points for that. And that, you know, yeah. But still, you know, we're leaving off in the middle of a fight, which I don't always love because I'm like, we're not watching the rest for the tournament, which sucks. But the fight so far was good as well. So other than I have to dock a few points for, like, I just didn't care about part of their motivation for being here, but the rest of this was good. So soft yay for me.
So I'm also giving it a soft yay, but, like, unlike what I'm mainly, like, agree with everything that Yin said with the plot, except I have to disagree with, I think it was Envy and Chibi who said this, that, like, the Inari's, like, family story was, like, used to, I guess, inspire Naruto. I think it was the other way around. I think it was that Naruto, like, inspired Inari, and it was kind of like, for me, yeah, like, there's not adding much here because Naruto's just being himself, and is showing Inari that, like, he's a hero. Like, it does give us more about Naruto, and, like, it strengthens Naruto, but, like, not in the way that, like, I feel like you guys were saying it did. Like, it wasn't Inari that was strengthening Naruto, it was that Naruto was already, like, strong.
I wasn't saying that Inari was strengthening him. I was saying that Naruto felt that he could relate to him, not that he was strengthening him.
See, I don't agree with that either, though. Like, I didn't really get that from the, like, story, and I don't know if it's just my perspective is different.
I think it's mostly... Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No, it's just that, like, I didn't really get that, like, you know, that whole, like, vibe from Naruto. Like, it was more like Kakashi was telling Inari that, like, Naruto's like you. It wasn't like Naruto was realizing that himself.
No, Naruto, I feel like he was reflecting a bit on how this kid is kind of reminding him of himself, and not so much that he's trying to inspire him, more in just the way that, like, yeah, this kid is like me, he's also been ostracized, and, you know, kind of like that. So, not that he's, like, trying to, like, get the kid to, like, you know, see, oh, I'm like you, but, like, he can kind of feel for him, is what I'm saying.
I don't know. I just didn't really get it. I didn't really see the point in it, because it was more like, it seemed like it was more for the kid than it was for Naruto, and the kid's not a major character, so I was kind of like, why are we doing this? But I did enjoy, like, these, like, 4 episodes, though. Like, I really enjoyed, like, watching them, and even if the story wasn't, like, I guess, that relevant, it still, like, was interesting. And then, you know, Haku and Zabuza are interesting enough, like, on their own, too, to keep me engaged. And then I like the whole thing with the chakra and the tree, and, like, the whole Sasuke being kind of like put down a peg, and all their like rival moments that they had, but then also the soft moments. We got some like Sasuke being worried about Naruto and helping him back to like, the house and stuff, and I was like, okay, I see what you're doing here. But not to be a Sasunaru shipper or anything, but
Uh-huh.
Go ahead, there's plenty of them out there.
But yeah, yeah, they even sell Sasunaru bracelets. I'm just saying.
Of course they do.
They would sell. So
But yeah, so yeah, I because of everything I just said, really, like, I'm a soft yay. Like, I still enjoyed it, but it was kind of like just, not super relevant to me at some point. So
yeah, it sounds like a soft yay overall for plot. Why don't we move on into characters? Chibi, lead us off on this one.
Okay, characters. Here we go. So we got our main trio of kids. So for the main trio, I feel like we got some development with them, at least amongst each other. Sasuke and Naruto are, like, learning to cooperate a bit. Sasuke is not, being so much of a jerk towards Naruto. Sakura is also being helpful in, explaining things to Naruto, even though she doesn't like him. She's also, like, doing the one useful thing that apparently she can do for right now, which is controlling her chakra, which I'm just like, so this is all you're good for. Okay. Glad we've established that. Kakashi,
It won't become relevant for a long time.
Probably not, because this is a long-ass show.
I mean, it will not be relevant at all in this series.
So it comes back in Shippuden, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Anyway, lost my train of thought. Oh, Kakashi. I'm not really sure Kakashi did a whole lot in these episodes. I mean, I feel like he was doing some stuff and, like, teaching the kids. Or maybe I'm just forgetting shit that he did, but I don't really feel like he was doing a whole lot other than he might have gone to go and fight Zabuza at the end. I don't really remember.
No, he didn't.
What?
I said, nah, he didn't.
Nah, he didn't? Okay, cool.
Wait,
Great.
I thought
Zabuza
him
showed
and the
up.
kids, but they were fighting Zabuza at the
Yeah,
end.
they were fighting. Zabuza showed up.
Yeah. Like,
I guess he didn't do it on purpose.
Like, I feel like Kakashi might have taken a stance, and that's about all I can remember.
Yeah.
Fair.
As far as, like, our bridge builder is concerned, Tazuna, we got a little bit of development with him, his family, which, great and all, but, I don't know, like, as far as, like, the kid and the mom and then the stepdad, I mean, it's interesting to kind of, like, build out these characters and sort of give them a little storyline, because it's kind of, like, showing you that, like, because even though you don't really know these people that are in your life for just a brief period of time also, like, have lives and things have happened to them and of significance that don't have any pertinence to your story or your life in any way whatsoever, but these are things that have happened to them that have shaped them into who they are today. But I mean, it was kind of okay. We got a little bit of, like, Naruto and the kid, because the kid's very bitter about losing his dad because Gato is an asshole. And I mean, again, kind of like with what I was saying earlier, I don't know. I felt like it was kind of like, sort of, Kakashi was explaining, oh, he's like you, and building up the kid, and Naruto's like, I can see why he's like this. And then, other characters, oh, yeah, Haku and Zamasa. I felt like they were probably the most interesting characters that we had this set of episodes. Mostly in that, like, Haku's backstory was very sad, but it also kind of shows you sort of why he's so loyal to Zabuza in the first place. And Haku's just basically a really cool character, in that, like, yeah, the one-handed jutsu, and also, like, the fucking ice mirrors, like, what? But I don't know. As far as characters are concerned for this week, I think I'd give them, like, a light yay, because everything that we got with, like, our main cast was good. Everything we got with our antagonists was good. It's just, like, the little minor secondary characters kind of, like, was sort of okay. And I can kind of understand, like, why they're there for this arc, but at the same time, like, I feel like they're just kind of there, and I'm not really getting a whole lot out of it. So yeah, I'd give them a soft yay.
I mean, Naruto, I didn't find him that annoying this week, so that's, 2 weeks in a row that I thought he was pretty good. I mean, when he told the little boy off in the one episode, while it was, incredibly harsh and probably not the best tone, he was right, and I think that was kind of something that, combined with what Kakashi said to him, was something that he needed to hear. Kakashi, spouting the words of wisdom, whether it be through the training or that conversation with the little boy, I thought was pretty good. As I mentioned, Sasuke was challenged in his own way this week, and he had a nice, even rivalry with Naruto, where they seemed like evenly matched with their chakra powers. Sakura did something, so that's a plus question mark. Obviously with the family, we're not going to see them after this arc, but the way I see it is that tends to happen with long run and shonen, where we get arcs that's solely dedicated to the main plot and the main characters, and their side arcs that are only for this one arc. And as far as characters for this one arc, I actually didn't mind them. I like the bridge builder. I like the backstory of the stepdad. And yeah, we've seen that little boy type character before, where he feels depressed or angsty, or, feels like screw the world. But he does start to come around. And yeah, I would be upset too if my father figure was brutally executed in the middle of town square. Like, that was like I didn't expect that show to go that moment to go that dark. But yeah, I didn't mind the characters for the most part. So, and yeah, I like Haku as a character overall. So yeah, overall I give the characters a yay.
So the highlight for me was the One Piece samurais, right? No, I thought I'm a yay here. I think, like, we're getting these characters with the side characters and the kid and all that. They're fine. I think we've talked a little bit about, like, they're not the best, and we don't particularly care about them too much. I don't know if it was because the kid was too annoying off the bat or something like that, or what exactly it was that you did that didn't endear us to them. But they're there. They're fine. I, like you guys were saying, Zabuza and Haku, really cool. We already got an establishing bit for Zabuza, but, like, on top of this and Haku, and we're kind of, like, learning more about them, they are interesting, and I'm interested to see more about them. Kakashi was mostly in mentor mode today. Sakura, Naruto and Sasuke, we're starting, like I was mentioning, the rivalry. This is really where the rivalry starts, because now Sasuke's starting to see Naruto maybe not as an equal, but at the very least as a possible threat now to his own dominance, or whatever he is thinking about. Yeah, and that's good, because, like I mentioned before about the Bakugo thing, I don't like Bakugo as a person, but I think he's an interesting character from what I saw. And I think Sasuke, as we keep moving forward, is going to get more interesting because of this dynamic with Naruto. Not only that, he's going to, not to spoil anything, but he's going to get some cool powers at some point. He can already breathe fire. That's pretty cool. Naruto also showed a lot of maturity here. We talked about it the last couple episodes. He was like kind of learning more, and he was thinking through his actions a little bit more. He's still hyperactive. He's still an idiot. He still does like impulsive things, but you know, he's not jumping straight to I'm going to throw a tantrum and get pissed off at the task nowadays. Now he's trying to think through the situation and learn from his mistakes and ask for help when he needs it. Like him going and asking Sakura, like, hey, how did you do this? Can you help me out a little bit here? That showed, I think, a lot of maturity on his part, which is, honestly, I never would have seen that from Naruto in episode 1. Or episode 4, or 5, even. But, like, now, he's really starting to come into his own a little bit. Not as fully as he will later, but right now, I think he's finally on the right path to becoming a truly great ninja. But, you know, he's still got that little bit of thing like, I'm not going to tell you, Sasuke, haha, which is still fun. So, yeah, I think overall here, I'm a yay. I'm liking the development of the characters we care about.
Yeah, I'm also a yay for basically the same exact reasons you said, Al. With, like, the development with Naruto and Sasuke, and, I mean, I guess even, like, Sakura between her, like, teammates, and it's just, like, those three are really important, and we're seeing, like, actual growth for them, like, so early on in the show, and I think that's great. It's good, it's going somewhere, like, their characters are developing. And, you know, then there's Haku and Zabuza, who are interesting characters themselves. And so I don't have a whole lot else to say that hasn't already been said, but yeah, it's a yay for me.
Yeah, I would say it's a yay for me too. One of the highlights was really Haku and Zabuza. I thought that their relationship was interesting. I really liked seeing Haku's backstory. I think his powers are really cool. I like that we see like a softer, gentler side of him, but also like a very badass side of him, like a calm, cool fighter side. So I think he's got some shades, you know, he's got some different personality traits I enjoy, and we can see that like, you know, he'll fight you, but he can also like have a conversation with Naruto, despite them being enemies, and even though Naruto didn't really know who he was,
or that he was a
either way. So I liked all that, and yeah, they really did a good job of making me care about Haku in a short amount of time, unlike the family, which yeah, I don't really care about, but yeah, they are kind of like one-off characters. I guess it's fine, you know, it didn't ruin it for me or anything just because I didn't really care about them. So that was alright. I think Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura all had some good stuff. I was glad to see that Sakura was good at something, even though in the end she kind of reverted back to, oh no, now Sasuke's mad at me because I'm actually good at something. And it's like, can't you just be proud of your own achievement and just leave it at that? I don't know. It just bugged me. But either way, at least she can do something. So that was nice. So I actually kind of liked her in this one, and I liked some of her interactions with Naruto, actually. And kind of like what Al was saying, I liked how he went to her for help, and they actually felt like a team for a moment. Sasuke and Naruto, their rivalry stuff was good, though I found myself a little bit confused about, like, why. Just because it's like, Sasuke doesn't want to be Hokage. So it's like they're not fighting for the same thing the way Deku and Bakugo both want to be, like, the best hero or something. It's like, they don't want the same thing. So why does Sasuke even care? He seems very single-minded on focusing on his, like, his thing, and then Naruto cares about being Hokage, so it just feels like they have very different, like, goals, so I don't even understand why they're fighting, but I still like the interactions, like, the rivalry is good, but I think it just, like, it was a little confusing to me, like, why? Maybe just because they both want to be strong, and they're like, this guy can't be stronger than me, but I don't know, it's just, like, I liked it anyway, so that was still good, I don't know if there's anything I'm missing, but overall, yeah, Kakashi was there. He remained a good character, even though he didn't do that much. You know, he's still a good mentor, so it's a yay for me.
Is that everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it sounded like an overall yay for characters. Envy, why don't you take us into world building?
World building. I mean, obviously, with world building, you get the backstory of the town, of, the boy's, father figure, that kind of stuff. And then obviously, we get the, long, explanation of how chakra works, how it's both physical and spiritual, how you have to have the right physique as well as the right mental state, and how both balance is a key to making it work. And you get other fighting techniques, and you basically, the town and chakra were the two main focuses of the world building this week. And yeah, it makes sense for the types of ninjas that they are, that they have to be both physically fit and prepared as well as spiritually. So yeah, overall I give it like a soft yay for the world building.
I think I'm a soft yay here too. I think that world building has been one of Naruto's strongest elements throughout this tournament. Here, though, although I like the larger explanation of chakra, I think the extra bits that we're learning about the Anbu Black Ops and some other things like that, and is good. I think this stuff with the background of the town is fine for setting us up for the mission at hand. I think that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. Part of what I have a problem with a little bit, and I think this has kind of been building up a little bit over time, is that it's beginning to feel a little bit like we're being lectured to, which normally I'm kind of like, whatever, that's fine, because a lot of these are teaching scenarios that Kakashi is helping with. But I don't know. I feel like it was the re-explanation of chakra. Even though it's a more detailed explanation, it just is feeling very like you're dumping this, as opposed to letting it kind of come out naturally in a situation. Even though it is the natural way to say it, I don't know. It's weird for I don't know if I'm explaining this right. But yeah, it's starting to get a little bit dumpy, especially because even the background information we get about the town is all exposition flashback stuff. And we mostly see the character things. We don't really see what Gato did to take over. It's mostly told to us that it happened. So I'm docking just a few points because of that. But otherwise, it's still pretty good. So I'm going to say soft yay.
I'm also a soft yay, and I understand what you're saying, Al. Because it just felt like very kind of like it felt like a little much when they were explaining not even just the stuff with the chakra, but also the stuff with the shinobi trackers and stuff. It just felt like a lot of information at once, and it was kind of hard for me to wrap my head around it. Whereas I think if it were introduced more naturally, I would get it more. Or if maybe it's just because it's explained by Kakashi and he's just a teacher, so he's just you're laying it all on you like a teacher does sometimes. I don't know, but it was kind of a lot. But we still did get world building stuff, so I think the information we got was good. It's just the execution that needs work on a little bit. But yeah, so I'd be a soft yay to a meh.
Yeah, I'd agree with what you guys said. I think sometimes there was some info dumping that felt kind of unnatural. But I think we still got some good world building, so I'd give it a soft yay.
Yeah, I would also give it a soft yay, for all the reasons that everyone else has already said, so.
Sounds like soft yays all around for world building. Let's get into art and animation. I believe I'm leading us off on this one. I'm a yay here. I think what we got worked very well. I've been a fan of Naruto's art style for a while. during this, and I think it kept up really well. We got a couple new things here and there. We saw a little bit more of like the bridge and some stuff like that, which is kind of just background stuff. But we got Haku in a different outfit that, works for him. And some of the forest shots. I actually liked some of the lighting in that scene with Haku and Naruto. It was actually really nice. But outside of that, the fighting is still good. Like, the moves that they're making and everything like flows very well. Like, it's amazing how nice it looks when they're not starting and stopping so much for flashbacks. And let's mention the flashbacks again. The flashbacks were actually good this time around, and they worked for what they were doing. So I have nothing really to complain about here in regards to the art or the animation. So I'm a yay.
Yeah, I enjoyed the animation, and like you said, there's no, like, excessive, like, flashbacks of things we'd already seen. It was all new, scenes. So, I think that, overall, it's just kind of like I said before, I enjoyed the animation. I think everyone's very expressive, which is fun to see. The fights are good. Yeah, it's a yay for me.
Yeah, I'd still give it a yay. I don't have many new thoughts about the animation, but I think it's consistently pretty good, especially in terms of the aesthetics. Yeah, it's a yay.
Yeah, I'd also give it a yay. I think the animation is still doing pretty good. The fight sequence that we got at the end of episode 13, I liked. Character designs are fine. Yeah, that's a yay.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I didn't mind the art and animation. There wasn't, a ton of action, but, for the sequences with the training and, with the ending fight, or the beginning of the fight with the mirrors, I thought was pretty cool. So, yeah, it's a soft yay for me.
It seems like an overall yay for art and animation. Gav, take us into sound and dubbing.
Okay, so sound and dubbing. Once again, I love Naruto's music. It's so good, and my favorite's gotta be when they play the huss and like the do you know what I'm?
There's a word for that. It's a thing from Kabuki theater, I think, that they incorporated.
I just love it. I love it so much. I think that all of the music that they play in the background's very, like, good, like, and fitting with the atmosphere. Like, it's very atmospheric, and dramatic when it needs to be, and calm when it needs to be, and fun when it needs to be. Just, like, it's very good. The dubbing is good, as usual. I don't have any problems with anyone's voices. So yeah, I'm a yay for sound and dubbing.
Yeah, I'd still give this one a yay. In this category, I don't really have any complaints. I think everyone's voices work really well, for the characters. There was nobody I was super bothered by. Even the kid I don't really remember being bothered by, which is unusual. I don't remember him having a super weird voice, though, which was nice. So yeah, and I think the background music and the sounds are really good, so I'd certainly give it a yay.
Yeah, I'd give it a yay too. Dubbing was fine. Haku's voice kind of grew on me. I didn't really find any voices that really bothered me too much. Yeah, the music's always, good and unique. So yeah.
Pretty much everything you guys said I agree with. I enjoyed the cast. I really enjoyed the background music and the sound effects. So yeah, it's a yay for me.
First off, we need a believe it count. We're at 8. If we include the little... well, no, they didn't put one in the ending thing. So I think we're at 7. 7 believe it's for 4 episodes. So we're the average is roughly around like 1 point something, to almost to a 2. So, he's getting it down. To be fair, there were like 4 in the first episode we watched.
Yeah.
Despite all that. I think the voices all work. I think everyone's like really gotten into their role, and like I think this is the point in the series where a lot of people, like especially a main cast, have kind of, if they were a little shaky at first, they've gotten into their character now, and like they're good to go. And the supporting cast works, and you know, like Gav said, like this is one of the most like uniquely individual soundtracks. Like you do not mistake Naruto for anything else, and all the tracks that were used were really good. So I'm a yay. And that's everyone. Sounded like a yay for sound and dubbing. Let's move right along into opening and ending. Yin, I'm checking this one.
Opening and ending. You know, I was thinking this week it really has grown on me, which is weird because earlier on I found it kind of boring, and you know, it felt like there were two endings, but weirdly enough I was kind of enjoying the opening and ending this time around. I liked them before, but I feel like I weirdly enough liked them better this week. So I would actually give them a solid yay now. I cannot explain why, but I think they just grew on me.
So my response really hasn't changed. I'm still kind of on the opening. I do like the ending though. So I feel like I'd probably give it more of a meh range score.
Yeah, I mean, the opening's growing on me a little bit, but I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of it. Same with the ending. I like it more than the ending, but not by a whole lot more. So I'm kind of like a very high-ish meh.
I can tell you why it's growing on you guys. There's this phenomena called Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh no!
I've said it before, I'll say it again. I said it last week. I'm not a fan of the opening of this. I think it's a fine song, it's whatever. It doesn't work for a shonen opening. The animation for it is fine. I like the ending. I think the ending is good, so I'm like, for one that I don't like, one that I do like, meeting in the middle, I'm giving it a meh.
I'm a soft yay. I, like you kind of said, I think it's grown on me. Yeah, I enjoy listening to both of them when they're on. They're not, like, anything too great, so that's why I'm giving it a soft yay, but yeah.
So from last week, it went from a meh to a soft yay overall by the look of it.
The Stockholm. I don't know.
About,
It just
I
I
think it's
enjoyed
Stockholm
it this
Syndrome.
week.
You've been listening to it for like 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe 3 weeks.
No, because Jujutsu Kaisen versus Demon Slayer was a week before, so we wouldn't have listened to it.
Ah, you mean straight weeks? Okay.
Yeah. La, 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 la. All right. Final thoughts. Chibi is leading this one. Go for it, Chibi.
Yep, I am. So my final thoughts for this are kind of unchanged as they have been for like the rest of this series. Like, I feel like if it were on, I'd probably just leave it on and like kind of just watch it. But to, you know, like actively go and seek it out, I might not do that on my own time. So I definitely will probably give it more of like a soft yay. As far as like my final thoughts are concerned, simply because it's not something that I immediately like want to go and just like continue. But I feel like if it was just on for me to continue and I can like watch like an episode here or there, I feel like that would be fine.
So I kind of cheated and I looked up how long this arc and this fight will last.
I pretty much
lasts
told you
another
guys.
6 episodes to episode 19.
Oh my
so
God.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I told
I
you guys
wouldn't-
like the next arc starts at 20. So
Wait, it lasts 6 episodes, the fight?
yep.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, there's some epilogue stuff in episode 19, but you know.
Interesting.
So I wouldn't mind maybe watching these next 6 episodes just, to finish up this story arc. But as far as, beyond that, I mean, I'd have to see. I got, a lot of stuff to watch, a lot of games to play, a lot of, so I don't know if I can really devote the time to watch a very long running show, but it's still good. I've turned around on it a lot over the last couple of weeks, so I give it like a soft A overall.
Yeah, I hate to say it, Stockholm Syndrome strikes again.
Wow.
No, I don't. I'm a yay here. Despite some of the shortcomings that occurred with the family, some of the motivations were like the backstory and stuff like that, I still think I like the main cast of characters who I know are sticking around. I like the fights, I like the character development, I like the art, I like all the elements put together in the show. I enjoy a lot. And we are leaving off as the fight is starting to get good. Like, what's this mirror thing now? I know what the mirror thing is, but like, as I was watching as a kid, I'm like, what the hell is this? How? What? I gotta see the next episode. And, I gotta come and do that a little bit. Yeah, I'm a yay. I would watch the next couple episodes.
Yeah, I was kind of like sad when I was done watching like the episodes for this week. I was like, oh man, I kind of wanted to watch more, and I mean I could, but I was like, I'm gonna stop because it's late, and yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed these episodes, and I really think that like I would continue watching more Naruto, like, so yeah, yay for me.
Yay for me.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah,
Oh, did you have something else?
No, he said...
No.
He said yay for me. I'm like, yay for me! Because we have Disney+.
Yeah. I think watching Naruto this time around really surprised me, because the first time I tried to watch Naruto a while ago, I wasn't actually that crazy about it, and I wasn't sure that I would be this time either. But I actually have really liked what I've seen this time, and I would continue watching the show. I think the characters have really grown on me, and I like them all, even like Sakura to an extent, even though she's probably the one I like the least. I think at the very least everybody else has been really good. I'm interested in seeing what happens with this fight. Maybe, there's a reason it's 6 episodes long. I'm interested to see if it's really epic. I like what's going on with the bad guys too. I don't know. I think all the elements kind of came together to be something that I actually would consider watching, which is one of the big surprises I've found in this tournament. I actually really like what I've seen of Naruto. It's a really good anime. So I would continue, and I would give this a yay.
Stockholm Syndrome strikes again. It's like the longer you're around Naruto, the more you're forced to love Naruto. That sounds like...
Believe it!
Believe it! Yeah. We'll make a believer out of you.
Man.
God, that should be the tagline for it. You will believe.
Yep.
It's a cult. I know being a Naruto fan is kind of like being in a cult. But yeah, so those are the final thoughts. Let's do this. We got to do this. Let's compare these shows, these episodes, this whole thing. It's time to determine who is the champion of the Shonen Showdown, Jujutsu Kaisen, or Naruto. Let's start with plot. Envy, or no, Chibi. Envy? Wait, Envy.
Envy.
Take us into plot. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I got my list mixed up.
I want to say I like the plot to both shows this week, but I'll say this: Jujutsu Kaisen's plot did something that few animes have done. Got me back into a show that I dropped. Episodes 9 through 13. I'm still going to count episode 9 is the start of the arc.
I think we should say this. Like, can I say something real quick? I think at this point, since this is the final, I think maybe we can include everything that came before these episodes in our final
I feel like
thoughts
that
on
would
everything.
be fine.
I feel like that's fair at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
So we're thinking of the shows as a whole,
so
of everything that we've seen so far.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah, because like these 5 episodes, 9 through 13, literally got me back into the show, and it was mainly for its plot. Like, I loved the connection between all the characters. I thought the villain was great. I thought, it was a tragic story, but it was well told. The final fight was spectacular. I binged episodes 9 through 13 in one night because I was that invested and I wanted to see what happened. Like I said, it was like watching a mini movie. So, and again, the Naruto plot was good. It had some slower parts, but I didn't think it was that bad. But I just thought Jujutsu Kaisen's plot had more twists, more turns, more excitement, more drama, just more of everything. So, for plots, I'm going to give it to Jujutsu Kaisen this week.
I think I'm in the same line of thought as you, Envy. Looking at the whole plot of both of these, I think I can make my argument most succinctly about episodes 10 through 13 of both of these shows, in that though they were both good, Jujutsu Kaisen, they both tried to do the same thing in these recent episodes of establishing characters and making you sympathetic and care about them very quickly, to get through this arc and the emotional elements of this arc. Now, one of them succeeded, one of them did not so much. And I think that's kind of a bit of a... I can kind of extend that to a lot of the other plot if we are going to include episodes 1 through 9 as well. Jujutsu Kaisen, throughout this entire tournament, has stayed very tight and very driven in its plot. They don't really, even when they're having their lighter moments of levity that I know you weren't always a fan of, everything was always still moving. Naruto was a little start and stop in some places. I was not always a big fan of the Konohamaru episode. I was not the biggest fan of him turning into the Sasuke episode. And I had a lot of problems with the number of flashbacks they had in the Zabuza fight. And for all those reasons, yeah, I think simply because it kept its pace and everything else going the whole time, I got to give my point to Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, I felt like Naruto had more filler than Jujutsu Kaisen, even though we haven't seen that many episodes. It still feels like Jujutsu Kaisen was going for more of a here's what's happening, now we're jumping to the next thing and it's going, and now we're jumping to the next thing and it's going, and it just felt like it was consistently going somewhere, whereas Naruto was kind of slow at some points in just the plot, just what was happening. So I'd also give it to Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, I kind of agree with everything you guys said. I think Envy kind of summed up my thoughts about everything. I liked the plot of Naruto a lot, but I just feel like there was more resonance for me with the plot of Jujutsu Kaisen, and it really did keep me, I don't know, on the edge of my seat a little bit more. So I'm gonna give this one to Jujutsu Kaisen.
So, what I will say for the plot for both of these shows, both are good, as we've been saying. One is just far more enticing for me and kept my attention a lot more. I felt like there was less pointless stuff going on, and also it's just, the story all sort of made sense, and it didn't really seem like we were meandering or anything. So, I'm giving plot to Jujutsu Kaisen.
That's pretty much a landslide on Jujutsu Kaisen taking plot. Let's move into the next one. I'm leading us off on this. We're doing characters. Of course, I would be leading us off on talking about Jujutsu Kaisen and Naruto's characters. I had a whole slideshow about this. But don't assume that means you know where my opinion is going to be going, okay? I think it should be mentioned, these shows have strikingly similar character tropes going on between the main cast, even in some of these episodes, the side characters. So, for me, a lot of this is going to come down to the execution of the characters. Now, whether that's these 4 episodes or all 13 of the episodes that we've watched for this series. And I think in that regard, I'm going to go with Jujutsu Kaisen. I think that Naruto's characters were executed very well, and I think they especially in the cases like Sasuke and some people like that, I think we mentioned earlier, he's kind of like Rei and Asuka, and like they didn't invent the trope, but they perfected it a little bit. But even then, and I love Kakashi and all that other sort of stuff. I think like if we were just comparing Kakashi, Sasuke, Naruto, this would be a very even fight. But then we have some drawbacks because Sakura's here. And some other side characters who gives a shit about them. Even the side characters that I've met in Jujutsu Kaisen, I cared about. We never saw Yuji's classmates from his original high school after that first episode. I still gave a shit about them and I wanted to see what happened. I wanted them to make sure that they were okay. How do you do that? I saw them for 5 minutes. So, for masterful execution, I'm giving it to Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, I have to agree with like everything you just said. I definitely cared more about the characters in Jujutsu Kaisen than I did in Naruto, like all the side characters that they introduced. Or characters that may have been introduced once and aren't going to be like bigger until later. Like, I felt for them more in Jujutsu Kaisen than I did in Naruto. Like, I'm sorry, like, Inari, I could, I could not care less. And it's just like, I feel like a show's gotta be really, really good if it gets you to, like, care about a character that's only been there for, like, an episode or two. Like you said with the classmates at the beginning, like, I
don't remember their names, but I still like them. What the hell?
Yeah, same. Like, I was wondering when they were gonna come back too, and so
it's weird they didn't come back. Yuji is not the kind of person who would ever stop hanging out with someone.
It is so weird that we never see him chill with them yet.
Although it really brings into question how far away his old school is from Tokyo.
You know what? That's probably it.
Because the thing is like, he and Nobara are both country bumpkins, from what Gojo has
he
said.
He probably emails them on a regular basis. I'm going to say that.
Canon.
Yeah, that's my headcanon. He talks to them still on a regular basis like that. He probably even talks to his track coach.
He seems like somebody who would just, like, always, like, text people and
check
in.
He's got an email list that, like, every week he's like, who am I contacting today? All right, I got to make sure everyone... Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
Don't got phones in Naruto.
They have radios.
They do.
So yeah,
only a few years away, probably. It's
just like, I just care about the characters in Jujutsu Kaisen more, and then, Nobara's a strong female character, and Sakura is not, and that sucks. But I guess it just be like that sometimes. But yeah, I'm giving it to Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, this one's a little bit tough because I do think that the main characters of Naruto are done very well and developed very well, especially Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi, and probably to some extent Haku and maybe even Zabuza as well. But I think, it just lies in the fact that Jujutsu Kaisen does side characters really well. Like, you can see somebody for, like, 5 minutes and just care about them, And there are some side characters that are just as good as the main characters, like Nanami. I even like that nervous, like, weak guy who drives him around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even him, like, I enjoy him, He has a distinct personality, even though I can never remember his name. And, it feels like he adds something to the world. Even though he's not super powerful, he's not a main character, he still adds, like, some flavor to the universe. So I feel like everybody has a purpose, and nobody just feels like they're there just to be there. So, I don't know, I just really like all the side characters. I like all the villains too. The main characters are very strong. I mean, I can't think of a character where I was just like, meh, I don't really care if I ever see them again in Jujutsu Kaisen. So I really think one of the main strengths of that series overall is that the characters are so good and you just care about them so much. So even though I did really like a lot of the characters in Naruto, particularly the main characters, it is brought down a notch by Sakura, and it's brought down a notch by certain side characters that I really don't care about very much. So I'm going to give it to Jujutsu Kaisen.
So, I will say both of these shows have, like, good characters. Like, the thing with the characters for Naruto is they're all still fairly young, so they've got a lot of development to go through to get to the point where, you know, they're, like, mature characters, I would say. And the thing for Naruto is also, as y'all have been saying, their side characters, they're either real hit or miss, and a lot of times they're misses. Whereas Jujutsu Kaisen's just like, I just like them all. I don't really care who the character is. Like, I like them all. Like, villains are interesting, main characters are interesting, side characters are interesting, and, like, honestly, Junpei's death, even while I saw it coming, was also still, like, a really sad moment. So it basically shows, like, you got me real attached to this kid, and then you took him away from me, and now I'm sad. So, yeah. Like, to do that with a character and basically, like, you know you've, like, made some good characters when, like, the emotion that you get out of the audience when you take them away from you is basically, like, ripping away a child's, like, favorite toy and kind of just, like, watching them cry as you dangle it above them and they can't reach it. Because it's just like, how cruel! Why would you do this to me? But yeah, I would give characters to Jujutsu Kaisen, for sure.
For me, I like Yuji more than Naruto. Megami and Sasuke are about even to me. I mean, I didn't like Nobara at first, but at least she does shit, and I've been growing a little bit more to her, and obviously, you know, Sakura doesn't. But yeah, I like Kakashi a lot. I like Haku and Nabuzan, but yeah, a lot of the side characters in Jujutsu Kaisen I think are really good. I mean, Gojo's Gojo, he's great. I like Nanami a lot. I like the villain. And then obviously, you know, the tragic character death I thought really worked because I got invested in his character. So yeah, it's Jujutsu Kaisen for me as well for characters.
That's pretty unanimously Jujutsu Kaisen on characters. Gav, take us into world building.
Oh, so okay, so Naruto's very info dumpy with its, like, world building, and then Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel like, while it can be kind of, like, info dumpy, depending on who's kind of, like, giving you the information, it feels more like we actually are experiencing what is being, like, told to us in more, like, of a natural way. It's hard for me to explain, really, unless you, like, just experience it. But it's just like, sorry, I'm having a hard time putting it into words. But like with Naruto, I feel like it's like one episode. It'll be like, here's the chakra stuff, and it's relevant for this arc and this arc only. Whereas like the Jujutsu Kaisen, I feel like it might be like more relevant like throughout the whole like anime, what we've seen so far, like the information we've been given, because we keep like learning about like techniques and stuff and all the different curses and stuff like that. I don't know. I just feel like Jujutsu Kaisen kind of did world building better, so I was gonna give it to Jujutsu Kaisen.
Um, I don't really have strong feelings about this one way or the other. I think they kind of do world building really similarly. They kind of both info dump a little bit when it comes to techniques or chakra or cursed energy. I mean, they're really similar world building styles. So I'm not sure that I actually have a preference between them. So I'm just gonna pass for now.
So for world building, I feel that for both of them, as Ian said, it's both very similar. Because it's very much like in the way that like techniques are being explained. There are a lot of teaching moments where it's basically like we're getting info dumped as Yuji is learning because he's new to literally everything because he was not a Jujutsu sorcerer before episode 1. Honestly, I'm trying to think of like which one sort of does it better. The thing is that where I feel like Naruto's world is very expansive, like, and there's still so much to explore. I feel like Jujutsu Kaisen's is still like a lot of it makes sense, and I feel like I still have a grasp on the world, while also like still learning about it. Whereas Naruto's, I still kind of like do feel like I'm still learning a lot of stuff because some of it doesn't always make sense to me. So I guess for world building, I'd have to give it to Jujutsu Kaisen.
For me, I felt like Naruto in these episodes had more of a focus on world building and gave more world building examples, even if, yeah, some of it was info dumpy, but I didn't mind that. Because again, it was a teacher instructing his students, so I guess that's, instructing the audience as well. So I give it to Naruto for world building.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a lot of stuff you guys were saying about Naruto and that like Jujutsu Kaisen wasn't doing, like, I almost felt like you guys were saying like Jujutsu Kaisen was doing more world building than Naruto. I really felt the opposite way as well. Like, I think Jujutsu Kaisen primarily their like world building was in the first couple episodes, but after that it was mostly just the cursed energy stuff, and that is world building and whatnot. But it's mostly one aspect of the world building. And yes, Naruto did focus a lot on different techniques, but outside of that, we learned more about the topography of this world, the geopolitical stuff of this world, the hierarchies of the different organizations and the people. I feel like and I think it's easier for Jujutsu Kaisen because they live in modern Japan, and you just know what that is if you're either live there or know anime. So yeah, I think I agree with Envy. Like, I think Naruto put a lot more effort into building out this pseudo fantasy world and making it 3-dimensional. I think they did that very well in all the episodes that we've seen. So I'm giving it to Naruto. Never pass. I think that's the lesson.
You know what? I kind of agree with you guys in a way, so...
Okay, it's 2-2. You gotta say who you're agreeing with here.
No, the people who just spoke.
Okay.
I do think like Naruto had to put a little bit more work in to the world building and did a good job of it. So and like I said, the styles are very similar when it comes to the world building. So I'd say overall, yeah, I'd probably give it to Naruto.
Tiebreaker, Naruto wins world breaking or world building. World breaking. We don't get to that part of the anime yet. Yeah, so world building goes to Naruto. Moving on into art and animation. Yin, I believe you're leading us on this.
Art and animation. I mean, there is a huge gap between when these two were made, and that has to be acknowledged. I think I also want to acknowledge how Naruto's character designs and the costume designs and, all these things that are so iconic about Naruto, I think are a lot better than Jujutsu Kaisen. Because I think Jujutsu Kaisen, for instance, like the uniforms are not that special. Whereas Naruto, you have like the Naruto headbands and everything. I mean, you have so much that just screams Naruto, like it immediately, and it really sticks out for that reason. Whereas I think if Jujutsu Kaisen's sheer like quality of animation was not as good, it wouldn't be nearly as good as Naruto in terms of aesthetics and art design. I think it is because MAPPA did such a brilliant job of just making the animation so beautiful and fluid, and I mean, the fight scenes, every scene really looks amazing in Jujutsu Kaisen. So because of that quality, I think Jujutsu Kaisen has better animation, but I do think the designs in Naruto, in my opinion, are a lot better and more unique. But then when you compare like some of the curses and things like that, I think a lot of the designs are very good, but kind of like what Al was talking about before, a lot of them are kind of taken from Naruto. So it's like, are they really like that unique of designs? Because they're not really original in a lot of ways. What?
They at least, I think, one of the comparisons I made there was the Jogo doesn't look that much like Tatara.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Jujutsu Kaisen...
It's mostly a character thing at that point, I think.
Yeah, I think Jujutsu Kaisen still does a good job of separating itself for the most part, and I think it still did a good job of, like, making these characters look good, despite them being very similar to a lot of Naruto characters. I don't think that they're necessarily rip-offs, because they did it well. It almost feels more like an homage, which was kind of like what I was talking about before in another week. But either way, I can't necessarily say they're the most unique designs. And Naruto clearly... I don't know if Naruto was ripping off something. As far as I know, it's not. So Naruto kind of created a lot of these looks. But then Jujutsu Kaisen's animation is so good. So it's just like...
Are you about to pass again?
To me, it's like the art of Naruto is better, but the animation of Jujutsu Kaisen is better. And I am worried that I'm about to pass again, because I don't know which one's more important to me. So I'm going to pass again, especially because I feel like a lot of people are going to be kind of unanimous on this one, so I feel safe passing.
So I was thinking of passing, and I'm not going to, because...
Okay, just show of hands. I can't see anyone's hands. Who was thinking of passing?
Me.
Is that it?
Probably.
Do we want to skip you as well and come back to you?
No,
to the both
after
of you?
hearing Yin's thoughts, I have come to a decision. So, for me, while I was going to pass, but now have come to a decision, I feel like, yes, Naruto is far more iconic in character design, especially considering, like, that people still cosplay it after so many after so many years, because, like, let's face it, like, you are not going to not see, like, someone wearing a bright orange jumpsuit with those god-awful shoes and not be like, oh,
what
this
is your
an...
problem with the shoes? I really don't get it.
Fucking weird. I'm sorry. Anyway.
It's all the joys of open-toed sandals without the worry of it flopping off your foot.
I fucking hate it. I hate it. Anyway. But the thing is like, even with all that iconic, like, outfit and things, like, that's not enough to want me to watch a show. The thing is like, what's going to keep me watching a show is more like how my
Characters.
eyes are able to digest it. Well, also, yes, characters, but I need to be able to...
I'm being a dick. Don't worry about me.
I know. You always are. Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Wait, he was in Naruto.
He was. Wow. Anyway.
See, Naruto stole some imagery too.
Yeah. Anyway. So, the thing is I'm... Honestly, while Naruto does have some good fights, like, sometimes it's, like, kind of rough for me to watch. And granted, I know it's probably because it's, like, almost 20 years old now at this point. That my eyes are just kind of like, this is okay. And granted, yeah, Mappa's doing a fantastic job with Jujutsu Kaisen. And the animation is really beautiful. Granted, like, here's the thing. Character design, for me, isn't quite as high up on my priority list as I feel like it is with other people. So, mostly just because of how I take it all in when I'm watching the show itself. Like, I'm definitely was grading higher Jujutsu Kaisen, even given the caveat, the fact that it's a lot newer. So, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen for animation.
I agreed with pretty much everything that Yen said when they were talking about this category. You know, Naruto having the more iconic art, whereas Jujutsu Kaisen, because it's so new, it has the better animation, and it really depends on which one you like more. It's hard. It's really hard, but I might give the slight edge to Jujutsu Kaisen because I think I like the background art more for the Jujutsu Kaisen more. And then, yeah, obviously the fights in Naruto are good, but we haven't gotten to the Shippuden fights yet, where they really stretch the animation and go.
That might be a different. This might be a different fight at that point.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm sure later on in this show and in Shippuden, the fights get a lot more dynamic and insane. And again, the fights in Naruto have been good, but it's mainly because of, you know, the characters outsmarting the villains and, you know, working to overcome a weakness rather than it all being built on, you know, a purely choreographed fight, whereas Jujutsu Kaisen does a little bit of both. You explore the weakness while also going batshit with the animation. So yeah, I'll give the slight edge to Jujutsu Kaisen for art and animation.
I have always been a big fan of Naruto's art style and its look, and like I feel like they tried to put everything into Naruto that they could to make it look like no other and look and sound like no other anime. And I got to give them points for that. I'm going to go with Jujutsu Kaisen as well. I don't think they have nearly as good of an art style, but the other half of it is animation, and I think they have such good animation.
Yeah.
It is by the slightest margin that I'm making this decision, but I am going to go with Jujutsu Kaisen.
Well, that's... I guess I'm the odd one out because I was gonna go with Naruto, to be honest.
I should have went with Naruto, and then Yin would have had to be a tiebreaker again.
Wow.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Well.
See, for me, I like both the animation for different reasons. And to me, it's not about what one is like, it's better because they're both different for their times, you know, and they're both like a different art style. And I really like both the art styles. So to me, it really comes down to character designs. And I like the character designs in Naruto more than I do in Jujutsu Kaisen because at least with Naruto you get like different like uniforms and stuff for like each character. And it's like they're all so unique looking, and I get like they do hair and stuff differently in like Jujutsu Kaisen, but to me like that's not like enough really. And like the uniforms are kind of boring. I don't know. I just like Naruto's character designs a lot better, so I was gonna give it to Naruto.
Yin, any other things to say before we call it?
I do not need to choose, so I'm not going
Okay.
to. I think they both look great, though.
I will say one thing. This does not change my opinion, as I'm not going to be a dick and put you on the spot. But I think part of the reason that I should have mentioned that I am picking Jujutsu Kaisen over Naruto. Naruto, despite it being so early, started reusing a lot of footage through some of these.
Yeah.
And
That is
that's
true.
I docked that when I brought it up before. I gotta dock it now. And yeah, so if you need extra justification, that's it. Jujutsu Kaisen takes art and animation. Moving on into sound and dubbing. Chibi, I believe you're leading us on this one.
Yes, I am, and I'm going to pass.
There's a lot of passes going around today. I mean, I feel like it's been happening a lot lately just because we've been getting, like, so far into this, but that's, like, 3 now that people have just passed on in the very early stages.
I can't help it. It's just the fact that, like, I like
get
the
it.
score and the dubbing for both, and I don't really care either way.
Okay. Envy.
Oh.
Well, obviously for background music, I like both shows, but I think Naruto has the better background music, soundtrack, sound effects. Honestly, I give the edge to Jujutsu Kaisen just slightly because again, like I was talking about earlier, I love the sounds the different curse techniques and the curses make. Now it all comes down to dubbing for me. Now, if we were just comparing episodes 10 through 13, I'd be at a wash and I would pass because I thought both dubs in these 4 episodes were good. However, you made the caveat earlier that we could compare everything from episodes 1 to 13 for both. And what was my biggest problem with the early episodes of Naruto? I couldn't stand the fucker, especially his voice. Believe it! So, for that reason alone, I give the edge to Jujutsu Kaisen.
Maybe this is just I have developed an immunity or a tolerance to it that Naruto did not bother me nearly as much as it did you. Going all the way back to covering everything for sound and dubbing, I'm going with Naruto. I think they have pretty comparable dubs. I think both of them are well acted. I think they both get their fair share of funny lines and things that really like caught me. I think you're right to some degree. Jujutsu Kaisen has a bit better in the way of sound effects and stuff like that. But Naruto's no slouch in that department either. And some of them are comedic, some of them are less so. They have a variety. I think both shows did. Jujutsu Kaisen was a little bit better on that. Naruto's score is exactly that. It's Naruto's score and it's nobody else's. Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm gonna be honest, I really did not remember the score super well in this one. I think maybe part of that was like the animation was like probably taking the majority of my focus in that. I know it was good, but like I can't pick out any tracks from it. I can't like remember a tune or a melody or a beat or anything like that. I know every track that was playing in these Naruto episodes, from the comedic bits to the action bits to the whole spectrum in between. And I gotta give them the point for that. That's the one that edges it out for me.
I am going with Naruto for this literally the reason that you just listed, like with the score, because like I think the dub's great for both of them, but the score for Naruto I actually like remember and like stands out to me like a lot with what makes the show really great. And even when I was watching it with other people, they were like, oh yeah, like the music in this is like really like good and like interesting, but like I can't really remember the score for Jujutsu Kaisen, so I mean, like you said, like, I know when it, like, was good when I was watching it, but, like, I can't, remember it, like, offhand, like, as I'm sitting here, like, talking about it, but I can remember Naruto's, like, really well. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it to Naruto.
Yeah, I don't feel like I need to restate everything you guys did, so I'm just gonna say for the same reasons, I'm gonna give it to Naruto as well.
Chibi, you don't have to, but you got any other thoughts?
Nope.
Well, Naruto takes sound and dubbing, and then we move right along. Envy, you're our opening and ending man. Tell us your thoughts on these openings and endings.
I mean, I'd have to go back through all the rounds to make sure, but this is probably the most one-sided matchup we've had so far that I can remember.
Okay, do we want to streamline this?
Yeah.
Is anyone going with Naruto?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Jujutsu Kaisen takes opening and ending.
Can I just say, though, that...
Yeah, go ahead, say your thing, but, like, I don't think anyone's going to be confused about this.
No, I was just going to say, like, the opening for Jujutsu Kaisen alone I liked more than both the opening and ending for Naruto, and then you top it off with Lost in Paradise. And I've been sucking the dick of Lost in Paradise throughout
We've
this
all
entire
been sucking its
competition,
dick. I mean...
But it's just so damn good.
It's such a good
I love
dick.
that song. I love that song so much. And the animation is so unique, too. And, again, I want to recreate that ending in a video.
Well, let's do it sometime.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. If anybody else has anything else to add.
Nope.
I don't think I got anything. Alright. Yeah. Opening and ending. Lost in Paradise on its own was going to win that. Let's move on into final thoughts. I'll start us off. I want to continue watching both of these shows. I have not seen Jujutsu Kaisen before. I've seen nothing past this point. I want to see. No, like I said this, no matter what, I'm continuing watching these shows. The surprising thing for me is, like, I've seen Naruto. I know exactly what's coming. I still want to watch it. So if that's not a testament just to how good these shows are, I don't know what is. As far as full final thoughts, I'm taking everything that we've talked about into account, everything that's going on in the shows as they are right now, all of that sort of stuff. I think right now I'm going to go with Jujutsu Kaisen. Maybe part of that is that little bit of extra curiosity because I don't know what's coming next. I haven't seen it in its entirety. But at the same time, I know that the story so far has been really tight and the characters have worked really well. The world is good. I get to keep listening to Lost in Paradise. The animation is fantastic. Naruto, no slouch in any of these categories, other than the opening ending thing. But fantastic. The characters are great, and they're developing, and the plot is moving. Part of the issue is the plot is not moving at a super fast pace right now. And there's a couple other little elements in here that dock a couple points, but not so many that I'm like, you're not a contender. But Jujutsu Kaisen has been hitting it on all cylinders, so I'm going to go with Jujutsu Kaisen for this.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say, even though you're the one who, like, just kind of started this off, but it's very, like, the plot and the characters I feel like are very important to a show, at least for me, and I just thought that Jujutsu Kaisen did the plot and the characters better, than Naruto, but I would continue watching both of them. Like, I really enjoyed both of them. Like, out of all the shows we have watched, these are my favorites. Like, yeah, like, Jujutsu Kaisen and Naruto are my favorite, too, that I've watched, which is, like, saying something, out of, like, the newer shows that I've watched anyway. Like, Hunter x Hunter is still, like, probably my favorite out of all the shows, but, like, you know.
It just did not vibe with us. That's an unfortunate one.
Yeah, it's so good.
I still want to watch it, to be honest.
I might too. I'm just, yeah.
But anyway,
it was good.
Jujutsu Kaisen is just I guess, comes out on top for me because of the characters and the plot. So yeah, I'm gonna say Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, overall, I'm gonna say Jujutsu Kaisen as well. I really liked, really everything that was going on in Naruto. But at the same time, I just think between the characters and the current plot that's going on, I do think Jujutsu Kaisen just edged it out a little bit. I really like both and I would continue both, but I do think I always feel like more eager in a way to see what's going to happen in Jujutsu Kaisen, so I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it to Jujutsu Kaisen, mostly just for the fact that I'm so readily engaged when watching that show that obviously I'm compelled to watch more. So, for that reason alone, I'm gonna give it to Jujutsu Kaisen.
I've had my problems with it, but episodes 9 through 13, or 10 through 13 of Jujutsu Kaisen I thought were better than Naruto 10 through 13. Although I did like Naruto. Both came around for me in the end, but if I had to give my edge, it'd be Jujutsu Kaisen.
That's pretty unanimous. Jujutsu Kaisen takes the final thoughts, and they take the win today over Naruto. They are the Shonen Showdown champion. Round of applause, I guess, to all our contestants who contributed so much to our entertainment these past 15 weeks of watching fucking shonen anime. I'm a little shonen out. I'm not shonen out. I want to continue watching a number of these shows.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, now's normally the time when we gush. I feel like we're at the end. We can gush about both of these if you guys want.
Yay.
I kind of feel like maybe let's start with Naruto.
Yeah.
Because...
Fair.
Yeah. This is my show.
Yes.
And yet I've heard a bunch of people say that they want to continue watching this, which makes me very happy, but also means I am very limited in what I'm allowed to gush about. So...
Yeah.
What are you guys okay with knowing?
Let me ask you this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Does Naruto... This may seem like a weird comparison, but does Naruto pretty much go like the original Dragon Ball in terms of like its story, and then with Shippuden kind of acts like Dragon Ball Z in a way?
I will say yes from an action standpoint. I think that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are actually pretty different shows. Dragon Ball is much more of an adventure, a journey. It's based on Journey to the West, and it's a little more mythological. It's a little more fantasy-esque. And Dragon Ball Z is, I think we've talked about this, is much more in the sci-fi action genre. It still has a lot of elements from Dragon Ball that it brings over, but they have a very different focus in those shows. I think the focus in Naruto and Shippuden, for the most part, stayed the same in that it was about the characters and their quest to do whatever their individual desires were that they wanted to achieve. Now, in regard to, like, you want to talk, like, fights and action stuff, Dragon Ball has a bunch of really good ones that are kind of blown out of the water by Dragon Ball Z. Naruto, I think, also has showcases, like, some of the best action fights in Shonen. And then Naruto Shippuden, I don't think it completely blows them out of the water because the quality of some of the fights in Naruto are so good, but it outshines them in animation and choreography, dynamics, stuff like that. Like, things you were assuming that were going to get better with age, they do. And, good God, even Sakura has an amazing fucking fight scene. Like, she's one of the early fights in Shippuden, and I gotta tell you, it's fucking great. I cannot... You probably don't believe a word I'm saying right now because of everything you've seen of Sakura. I'm serious. It's great. But Yeah. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't know that. Yeah, there's some comparisons that can be made, but I think it does kind of it's more of its own thing. It kind of follows the same thing throughout because it yeah, when the Naruto series ends and then moves to Shippuden, it's a continuation of the story. It's not an entirely new story like Dragon Ball ended, wrapped everything up, and then made Z. So
The only reason why I asked that is because in Shippuden they're like teenagers or like young adults or something like that, whereas in the regular Naruto they're young kids.
Yeah, what happens is I don't want to tell you guys everything that happens or like why they decide to do this, but because that's a very plot important thing. It's a spoiler kind of thing. I mean, I feel like most people know about it, but I'm just going to be careful. But essentially, all of our 3 ninja kids get new teachers, masters, like who can take their training to the next stage. So they take a 2.5 year time skip, and then when they come back, they've completed that section of their training, and now they're ready to move on into the next phase. So it's kind of just skipping them doing a whole shit ton of tree stuff. The best way I can describe it. Any other questions?
Did you like how... I mean, I'm sure most people know this because of nerd osmosis, but I won't say who, but are you happy with who Naruto and Sasuke end up with at the end?
Yes and no. I'm fine with one of them. I'm kind of like, why for the other one? I feel like the one that I'm like kind of why, I feel like everyone's kind of been pissed off about.
Yeah.
We all know.
I know who it is.
Yeah.
We know who it is.
It's not like I wanted Naruto and Sasuke to get together. I was never like that shipper. But I'm just like...
It would make more sense in a way.
A little bit. But like... yeah.
My whole question is how does she endear herself to him when he obviously is kind of like with her now?
I'm gonna really tell you, there's some theories that she never did. Let's throw this out there. Sasuke is the last member of his clan, and he kind of needs to procreate.
Oh.
So...
Damn.
Like, that sounds really bad, and it is.
It's a one-sided marriage, I see.
Doesn't he not even recognize his own daughter?
Oh, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't seen her in years.
He's a deadbeat dad.
He is.
Wow.
He might be worse than Goku.
Ooh.
Like, Goku at least had an excuse of he's been dead a couple times.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, there's a reason that Sasuke's kid looks up to Naruto.
It's bad.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as Naruto and Hinata, I have no problem with it. I think like part of like any issue that I can have like is that the females in Naruto really get shafted. That was not meant to sound sexual, but it's like, okay, I should rephrase it. They really don't get the a lot of the development that they should, like from plot and character perspective. They get bits here and there. Hinata is going to get her section of stuff in the coming arc after the Zabuza arc that we're on right now, and that one, like basically from episode 20 to episode 80, this show is amazing. I love this show, and even after episode 80, we'll go say like up until they get to like another filler arc around episode like 112, this show is great. It dips here and there. You have the occasional episode where it's kind of like nothing really happens, but it's like it's nearly 100 episodes straight. That you have like just I love it. Oh, I don't want to call names on any of them. You know, I can call names. The tuning exam is next, and it's fantastic. It's where we get to see like so many new characters that add stuff. we get to fully establish characters that we have seen but don't really know yet.
You said that was the best Naruto arc, right?
It is. Like, I think, like, episode 20 to 80 is the best section of Naruto, right before we get to the big one at the end.
Is it better
And by
than
big one at the
Shippuden?
end, I mean episodes, like, up to episode 135. Not the end, because not episode 200 something, because it's all filler past that point. But
Wait, are you counting Shippuden?
no, just for this series.
Okay.
For Shippuden, I feel like I really need to rewatch some stuff, which I might at some point. I think Shippuden's on Hulu, so.
Yeah. I think it's on Netflix too, right?
No, I think it's on Hulu. I think they just have Naruto on Netflix right now. But yeah. Yeah. Coming up, you got some of the best characters being introduced and showing up. You got some of the best fights coming up. You got new villains and threats and all sorts of, like, twists and turns. Like, the only thing that I can probably say is, like, and, like, we were talking about world building before. I think, like, the only critique I really have of Naruto's world for, like, at least in its presentation for the first series, is that the Leaf Village is never the bad guy. Like, every other village kind of, like, has these, like, things of, like, we've already seen a bit of, like, the Hidden Mist Village, in that, like, oh, they're a little bit brutal. They do the Battle Royale thing, or they did do the Battle Royale thing for a while, and, like, all this other sort, they do assassinations and stuff like that. We have to assume the Leaf Village does that, but it's never brought up. And part of me is, like, I was kind of thinking about that today. I'm like, it might be, like, because it's coming from Naruto's perspective a little bit. Like, he's this naive kid who's like, oh, it's Leaf Village. I'm from the Leaf Village. We're good guys. You know, we're never in the wrong. It's kind of like the 10-year-old who thinks that America has never done anything wrong in its history. And then, you know, you grow up and you're like, oh, okay, we have a couple, we got a lot of skeletons in the closet. And I think Shippuden rectifies that, because you start to find bad people in the village as well. Not to spoil anything, but, like, it fleshes out the world even more, and does so in a very realistic, understandable way. Because, like, a lot of it is, like, Naruto is very much like, there's good people and there's bad people. We can sometimes make the bad people good with friendship speeches, which is, I mean, that's just a shonen thing. But
Like
it gets a lot more complicated in Shippuden, because it's not like, oh, there's good and evil. It's, oh, there are different philosophies and motivations for people. And some of them, and a lot of them are very personal, that sometimes you're even, like, looking at the villains like, yeah, no, I'm with you on this. It's kind of like Thanos a little bit, where you're like, okay, you're crazy and you shouldn't be doing this, but I get where you're coming from. So, yeah. Trying to not to go into fucking details, and I want to. Yeah,
Well,
keep watching this show. It's
mean,
good.
it's okay. Yin and Chibi are gonna have to gush over Jujutsu Kaisen without spoiling the second half of season 1 for
Should
you.
I
Al.
leave the room? Because
Aw,
everyone's seen
dude.
this fucking show but me now.
I don't know how to gush without spoiling.
Same.
I'm just gonna go sit in the bathroom for a little while.
No,
if
it's
anyone wanna
fine, it's fine.
I
It's
can do it real
fine.
quick.
I can be very vague.
I will also try to be vague. Also, you need to be vague because
I mean-
I haven't caught up with the manga yet.
Yeah.
To some degree, I think you should be vague anyway, because this is still kind of a new show. There might not be a ton of, like, not everybody has watched it. I feel like
That
everyone's
is
had
true.
time to watch Naruto at this point and, like, absorb that. But Jujutsu Kaisen might still be pretty new.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be real, I think the best parts of the series have not been animated yet, but I'm not gonna talk about it. Because
I think
yes.
I know which part you're talking about.
I think you probably do.
Oh.
So hopefully season 2 or 3, hopefully 2 should get to it.
Yeah, I would think
Is that
if
confirmed
if 2 doesn't
No,
get to
not
it,
yet.
2
It has to
will
be
probably
confirmed at some
either at least complete it or probably stop in the middle of it.
To answer your question,
it's
they
so long.
Yeah.
to answer your question, they haven't announced season 2 yet. They announced the prequel movie, and I
We know.
imagine the
Right.
prequel.
I would be flabbergasted if they did not get a season 2
They
of this.
will.
I imagine
They
it'll
will.
come out after the prequel movie this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
yeah.
gonna go kind of like Demon Slayer, like they had the movie and then they announced season 2, and then they had season 2. I think this will be the same way. The movie is very good. I definitely recommend the prequel, which is very good too.
Have you seen the movie?
I'm sorry, the prequel.
Oh, the story.
I've read
Manga.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
sure.
like,
the
when did? How
movie-
did you do
I
that?
saw Into the Future.
The Oracle of Delphi over here.
No, I meant the story that will be adapted in the movie.
I mean, they
so.
kind of need to establish that anyway, only because, like, a really important character that we haven't met yet is going to be in that movie.
Absolutely. And I don't think this is that much of a spoiler, but another major arc that happens that I'm guessing will be in season 2 or as an OVA or something is Gojo's past arc.
Yeah.
So we get to see like more about young Gojo and what happened with all that, which I think is one of the best arcs other than, I'm just going to say it's called the Shibuya Incident arc, but I'm not going to talk about it so much.
Yeah.
But other than that arc, I would say Gojo's past arc is the second best. They're both amazing. And animated, I can't even imagine how great they'll look. But other than the manga, if we're going to step away from the manga for a moment, which I think is fantastic and everybody should read it, I think the show has some really good fights coming up. Like the way they animated certain fights in the next, I believe it's the next arc, which is the Kyoto, whatever it's called.
The tuning exam.
And they have some really strong parts for the female characters. I know we were saying like Naruto, for instance, like doesn't always focus on the female characters enough, but really in some of the episodes coming up in Jujutsu Kaisen, we get a lot from like Maki and Mai and
Like,
Nobara.
they get a full showcase for the girls for at least, like, a couple episodes out of that arc.
Yes. And I think it's really good, and it's animated beautifully. So I think, like, story-wise and animation-wise, and we get to see, like, some really good stuff from Megumi a little bit later on in the arc that comes afterwards. And I liked all of that. We get a little bit about his past and some good action stuff. And we get another really great scene of Nobara, but I'm not going to, like, talk that much about that.
I'm excited to find out whether my prediction was right and the Scarhead dude is somehow related to Megami.
You'll see, I guess. Your questions will be answered.
They will. They will.
But-
Actually,
How
wait,
accurate
no,
was my
wait.
slideshow?
They won't be answered until season 2.
Oh, we don't learn about. I guess we don't learn about
But it will be answered.
Gato
I
much.
guess I know that.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
do
we
learn
learn
about him,
Gato later on.
but we haven't learned about him in season 1 because it drops off after
Right.
that point.
Yeah, so you won't know for a while unless you read the manga. But
I feel like I already know.
oh, you do?
Oh.
I feel like just
Oh, you're
describing it
guessing.
like, yeah, I feel
Okay,
like-
I'm not
Ooh,
gonna say
I
whether
wanna
you're right
know.
or wrong.
I want to know. I want to know your guess.
I don't. Should I say it on here or should we wait until afterwards?
Well, it's not a spoiler because it's a guess.
Yeah,
Unless
it's a
Okay.
guess.
Well, it's kind of a spoiler for Naruto because I'm just ripping off of Naruto here because
Are you saying he's Itachi?
to some degree, not maybe he's not his brother, but
So, but you're saying he has a tie to Megami.
yeah, he probably killed some people in his family or something, or motivated him into doing this. He's probably the reason he can see Jujutsu spirits or what. No, wait, that was a thing in Blue Exorcist.
The
Never
only
mind.
thing I'm
That
gonna
was something
confirm,
else.
he has a tie to someone
Yeah.
in this place,
Gojo.
but
I already know, I think.
you probably do, just from osmosis.
Yeah.
He was one of Gojo's fuck buddies. You know he's got a bunch.
I mean,
How can you
the
not?
authors basically confirmed it at this point, so...
Wait, he is?
You spoiled it! It was confirmed
Knew
in the fan book.
Okay, then he's a different Uchiha.
Okay, spoilers a little bit for him being connected to Gojo, but either way, all that stuff I'm sure will be great. But yeah, honestly, the rest of the series is really good. There are some really good, like, Juju scrolls coming up that are very funny as well. I mean, they really didn't drop the ball at all with this show. Like, every episode looks and is fantastic. And I am very excited to see what they do with the movie and season 2. So, I'm done gushing now.
Also, I wasn't spoiling anything about Gojo. I was just spoiling that Gojo isn't really faithful to one person. That was all I was saying.
Oh, it sounded like you were confirming that he's connected to Gojo.
I didn't say that at all.
Well, you guys have said that now, so...
Oh. Either way, now we know, but either way.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe!
Wow.
I don't get to do that enough.
The more you know.
Alright, anyone have anything else to say about either of these shows?
Watch Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Why don't we go around? Which ones of these are we continuing on our own?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, me and Yin, because it was short and it went out in the first round, it was pretty easy. We ended up watching Blue Exorcist and like got through like the Kyoto arc in that just came out in the second season, the real second season.
Came out a few years ago,
yeah.
But yeah, we watched the whole thing. It was really good.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'd recommend the rest of Blue Exorcist, but not the rest of
watched-
season 1, but skip to season 2.
We watched some more episodes of Yu Yu Hakusho, but I think like we just got bogged down with like all the other series that we had to watch, and it's long as well.
I do want to continue it. It is a little bit longer, but I think it's really good, and it actually continually gets better.
Yeah, it does.
So, like, some of the flaws in the first couple episodes, like, even, like, certain voice issues I had were pretty much, like, resolved in the later episodes.
Had they not gone up against Demon Slayer in the first round, I would have been like, they would have been a genuine contender for, like, the championship.
Because the next couple episodes
Yeah.
were really good. So Yu Yu Hakusho is really good, too.
I want to continue My Hero Academia, because I was enjoying that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That one's good.
I think I first want to watch Jujutsu Kaisen, simply because I know it's the shortest of these.
Yeah, it's easy to get through.
Yeah, I mean, as far as me, I also watched both Season 1 and Season 2 of Blue Exorcist. I haven't seen the movie yet. That's been on my watch list. I'll have to get to that eventually.
I think you came in late because they like took down the movie
So
off of
sad.
like Netflix
Yeah.
like right as you started watching. I'm like, that was just bad timing.
I'll have to just do it the old-fashioned way, yar, hard tiddly dee. You guys know I love My Hero. I haven't seen the season 5. I haven't seen season 5 yet because I'm waiting for the dub, but I've seen seasons 1 through 4 and the 2 movies. You'll definitely love season 2 and 3 of My Hero Academia. I think they're better than season 1.
That's what I keep hearing.
Season 4 is probably my least favorite season, but that doesn't mean it has bad moments. It has some really good fights, and it has a moment that actually made me almost tear up, which is rare because I rarely tear up in anime. And my wife, obviously, I've seen all of Attack on Titan that's been aired, and same thing with Demon Slayer. So, other than that, I haven't really watched anything else.
I gotta catch up on Attack on Titan at some point.
And funny enough,
Just to see how it
too,
ends.
by the time this episode comes out, the final chapter of the manga would have, for Attack on Titan, officially released.
I heard
Damn.
it's terrible.
I've
What?
heard mixed things.
I've
heard
heard it's
what?
like it's either you love it or you hate it.
the last chapter.
I mean, this will come out on a Sunday. This comes out on Sunday the 11th. The final chapter came out Friday the 9th. So
Okay.
Yeah, but it's already the 9th in Japan, so.
that is
Yeah.
true. I mean, anime
It's
only.
technically the 9th now. It's like
Yeah.
1 a.m. that we're
Yeah.
doing this.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No one had to wake up tomorrow.
Oh, me!
Oh shit.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Quick
yeah.
things. What are you gonna continue watching?
Oh, skipping to me already. Okay.
Yeah, let's just. Yeah, I feel like we gotta wrap this up because you got
So-
work in the morning.
Yeah, I Honestly, for the shows that I was going to continue watching, I've already finished Demon Slayer, as you all know. As far as anything else is concerned, I was going to continue watching Inuyasha because I want to rewatch it because, like, I'm feeling nostalgic right now. As far as anything else, I've continued a little bit with Bleach. I haven't continued on with Yu Yu Hakusho, but I've got the manga out of the library, so plan on at least reading it because I'm like, I don't really know, because the series itself is like 19 volumes, and I don't really know how much of the anime is actually going to be filler, so I kind of wanted to like preemptively like, you know, just start reading just so I can get past like any filler episodes that they have. As far
You never know, filler can be good.
I mean, maybe depends. Another thing, I was thinking like even maybe just like going back and watching Dragon Ball potentially because I'm confused with DBZ right now, so I'm like, I need context. Please. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's where I'm at with what I'm going to continue watching.
Gav, anything that sparked your interest? I know you want Naruto a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've continued a little bit with Blue Exorcist and Demon Slayer, and, I think, and Jujutsu Kaisen are, I think, the only ones I've watched, like, more of that, like, since being, I guess since doing this podcast. I mean, obviously I've seen more of Hunter x Hunter and Inuyasha. And I'm interested in, like, literally everything except, like, maybe Fairy Tail and Seven Deadly Sins, to be honest.
So you're going back for more One Piece?
I might.
I might too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I
I've
didn't
heard
like
some people say that One Piece gets like really good arcs later on.
I've heard that too. I have no doubt. I mean, I'm sure Fairy Tail would have had like really good arcs later too. I just didn't care enough to continue it. Yeah, no, yeah. We should talk about what we're gonna do next week, because I don't think we can continue any of these shows right now, simply for length of stuff. So why don't we? Yeah, we're probably gonna be switching back to just doing one show for some time. You know, this was. I don't want to say it's a lot of work because it's like, okay, we're like recording a lot, but like it's like, you know, it's a lot of work for we're not getting paid to do this. So why don't we just go do something? Let's like watch something really easy. It's just like simple, kind of don't got to think too hard. You know, maybe something kind of cute. You guys want to watch Madoka?
Wow.
Yeah, let's watch
like
Madoka.
I feel like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Amazing. Everything you just said is wrong. It certainly does not make you not think. It is cute though.
Just a magical girl anime. Just a we'll prove it to you. It's just a magical girl anime. All right. Come back next week if you want to hear us talk about episodes 1 through 4 of Madoka Magica. Bye.
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 Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!